know that it's very early. These two teams rolled out of the sack at about 5:30 this morning, Steve. But this doesn't promise to be a sleepy game at all.
No, it will not. You do not need any caffeine this morning. Just watch this game. There's going to be a lot of offensive firepower this morning.
All right, it is the 9-man championship game here. Prep Bowl 21 in just moments. Verndale won it in 97. Nicollet has never won it. It's coming up next on Fox 9. Good morning and welcome inside the Metrodome. It's Prep Bowl 21 here on Fox 9. Alongside Steve Varley, I'm Clay Matvick. We are just moments away from the start of this 9-man title game between the Nicollet Raiders and the Verndale Pirates. Let's take a look at the U.S. Bank game plan, Steve.
Well, I think as we look at this, Nicollet needs to stop, Fink and Ashman. It seems ridiculous to say, but they have a 5-man front. They have to stop that. They need to set up their plays. Coach Tom Murphy talked about gadget plays late in the game, and they need to be set up early. Verndale needs to stop Jamie Wagner and more specifically get to him on defense with an offensive lineman, and they need to establish the run first to set up that pass and set up their run and keep Fink and Ashman going to get this championship.
Well, Verndale has won the toss this morning, and the Pirates have elected to receive. The Pirates, coming out of the Pheasant Conference, winners of Section 4. And Nicollet out of the Southern Confederacy Conference, very tough conference. Leroy Ostrander, which won the Section 1 championship, also in that conference. There's a look at Michael Malin, the head coach of the Pirates. He's in his 34th year as head coach in Verndale. And for Nicollet, head coach Tom Murphy. He's in his 12th year, and he's out of St. John's, just like Mr. Steve Varley. There's a lot of Johnnies around here. Linneman's down on the dome turf.
And Tom turned around a Nicollet program that was really in the dumps when he took that over 12 years ago. Last 4 years going 40-6, done a real good job.
Yeah, that program was in the midst of a 30-some game losing streak when he got there. In 1999, Nicollet got to the title game but did lose. Verndale's been here 11 times, at least in the state tournament 11 times. 5th trip to the state championship game.
And Clay, in talking with Coach Murphy this week, he talked about leaving everything on the field. He was talking to me about things they made to today that I've never seen in a football game, and they put in some things just from watching the Bears game last week on Monday Night Football. It's a very smart team. This is just going to be a wide-open game. It should be fun.
And we are underway from the Metrodome. Matthias Hellblum kicks it off for Nicollet.
Go, go, go.
Out to the 30-yard line, it's Kyle Ashman, and we are going to be calling his name a lot today. The tackle made by Wagner, and there's another guy whose name we should call a lot this morning. Here are the starting lineups presented by Pepsi. Starting quarterback for Verndale, Corey Umland. Front line, Carr, Matson, Kneisel, Lovelace, and Bramer. And Ashman, Richter, and Fink in the backfield. It's the 9-man game. The first of 6 championship games here at the Metrodome today. Umland is under center. Handoff. Out over the 40-yard line, it is Ashman, and it is a first down. The tackle made by Tony Hulke. Let's take a look at the defense for the Raiders. Also presented by Pepsi, Rosine, Bernal, Rudnick, and Horning. Newman and Wagner, the linebackers, and Norrie, Hulke, and Allerson in the secondary. So Verndale out to a good start, picking up a first down on the run by Ashman. Umland under center. Deuce backfield. Receiver to the left. Umland turns around. Second man through. It's Ashman. Out over the left side to midfield. He's got room to run. To the 30, 20, 15, 10, and run out of bounds at the 7-yard line. What a great run by Kyle Ashman.
Well, we talked about it at the beginning play. Verndale doing exactly what they need to do, establishing the run. You saw Ashman go over the right side. Now we'll see him go over the left side here, led by Casey Fink, who Coach Malin calls the best high school blocker he's ever seen. Watch this long stride. Looks a lot like Robert Smith. they talk about him being quick. They talk about Ashman being very quick, but not overly fast. He gets there with those long strides. Just a great start for Verndale.
A 49-yard run for Kyle Ashman, the 6'1", 175-pound senior, averaging 6.9 yards per carry coming into this contest this morning. First carry of the game for Casey Fink. Fink, also a senior. He's a big kid, 235 pounds. The tackle made by Jeff Newman. And it'll be second down.
I'm sorry, Clay. Fink more of a north-south runner, as you can see here. He's going to be between the guards, right up the middle, more of a smash mouth type of runner. And you're going to see Ashman outside. And I'm surprised that Verndale has done a very good job early getting into the, you'll watch Nicollet covers up all the linemen on defense, so it's very hard to break through, and they're opening some gaping holes here early on.
Second down and 8 as Verndale is threatening to score here on the opening possession of the ball game. Ashman, right side, cruising his way to about the 5-yard line. And the tackle made by Wagner.
Wagner padding to that tackle tool he has, as we see Tom Murphy trying to figure out something on the sidelines there to stop this. But this is basic offense, right and left here. We're seeing Ashman and Fink, exactly what Verndale wants to do. There's nothing fancy about the blocking up front. They're going man-on-man zone blocking straight ahead, and they're just winning the battle so far.
Third down. Umlin rolling to his left. Cocks his arm, fires for the end zone. It is intercepted. Picked off by Paul Norrie in the end zone, and what a great defensive play there by Nicollet as Verndale marched it down and was threatening, but turned away by the Raiders.
When we talked about action, we thought we were going to see it on offense. Here we get a defensive spark early on in the game. And see in the replay, Umlin's going to roll to his left, and as a right-handed quarterback, this is very tough. As you see, he has to come back, set up, square his shoulders, and the ball's just a little bit behind. Great read by Norrie to come across and pick that ball off. Huge break for Nicollet as Verndale was doing everything they wanted to do on offense that first series.
The third interception of the season for Norrie, and now Nicollet has it for the first time at its own 20. It is Hulke rolling to his left. Tucks it under his arm, and he's out to about the 28-yard line. The tackle there made by Jason Kneisel. Let's take a look at those Pepsi lineups for Nicollet. On offense, quarterback Tony Hulke. Here's the front line: Rosine, Newman, Rudnick, Anderson, and J.J. Horning. And Norrie, Wagner, and Bratch in the backfield. Norrie, of course, making that interception just moments ago. Here comes Tony Hulke under center. The senior has 15 rushing touchdowns this season. He's always a threat to run. There's Jamie Wagner carrying for Nicollet. Corey Umlin making the tackle. Let's take a look at that Verndale defense. It's Bramer, Richter, Kneisel, and Carr. Fisher and Fink, the linebackers. And Umlin, Ashman, and Johnson in the secondary. Of course, you're seeing a lot of these names on both sides of the ball. That's typical of nine-man football.
Very typical, and both these teams got here. Both coaches talked about not having a major injury because you go from these seniors down to freshmen in this type of game.
Hulke. The pitch. Going to Norrie. And he is run out of bounds by Isaac Johnson. So it'll be third down.
So far, Clay, Nicollet contrasting the Verndale style of offense. We've seen a lot of different sets by Nicollet. And you notice on the first play from scrimmage, Hulke ran to his left and then stopped to talk to Coach Murphy. You'll watch Hulke make audibles today. He has over 20 this year, and he also calls his own plays a lot of times. Just a very heads-up team is Nicollet.
Check that. Second down and 9. Hulke. Play action. Pass deep downfield, and it is just out of the reach of Mike Rosine streaking down the field. He was covered by Johnson. So Nicollet, which, as we've talked about, likes to run with Wagner, Hulke is certainly not afraid to put it up. He has passed well over 200 times this season. 1,584 passing yards.
Excuse me, Clay, and at a 67% percentage clip, as Tom broke it down for us earlier this morning, his quarterback rating is through the roof. And last game started out with 6 incomplete passes, and then came back to have a great game to lead them in this game. That pass just out over the reach of his receiver.
Here's Hulke. Under some pressure, rolling left, looking downfield. has a receiver in and out of the hands. It may have been partially deflected. The intended receiver was Tony Bratch. There's double coverage there, and that'll bring up 4th down. Let's take a look at this pressure that Hulke was under.
Nicollet's going to do a lot of this facing. It's a bootleg team or a waggle team where they try to roll out. That time, Hulke, as he moves to his right as a left-handed quarterback, he sees the pressure and breaks off and gets a pass downfield. It's almost caught, but a good job of adjusting that pressure by the Verndale front 4.
Kneisel doing a good job in the secondary as well. Kyle Ashman back to receive this punt. Kick by J.J. Horning. It bounces at the 47. Ashman brings it back to the 45. And we've got a timeout on the field. Verndale has the ball when we come back. No score here. Prep Bowl 21. It's the 9-man title game. The Nicollet Raiders and the Verndale Pirates scoreless here in the first quarter. Prep Bowl 21. We're in the 9-man championship game here at the Metrodome. Along with Steve Varley, I'm Clay Matvick. Verndale has it now, 1st and 10 at its own 45-yard line. Verndale marched it down and was on the doorstep, but Paul Norrie intercepted for the Nicollet Raiders. This is the second offensive possession for the Pirates. And as Casey Fink over the right side picks up a couple, maybe 3 yards on the play.
Well, again, Fink a good blocker, but up the middle, he's really tough to bring down. 6'3", 235 as we look at Umland's numbers for the year. He's a better runner than a thrower so far this season. So far, Verndale is really dominating up front. You can see a surge of 2-3 yards as you watch the green shirts kind of go down the field. I'm surprised by that early on, and it's giving some big holes for the backs.
Umland loves playing in this dome, but he admitted to me last week he hates this AstroTurf as far as the turf goes. Big tackle there in the backfield. Ashman dropped for a loss. Norrie on the hit. Norrie has been everywhere so far this morning.
He's been all over the place, Clay, and he came flying up there, reads the down block on the end, and comes flying up, realizes it's going to be a pitch. As the right end, Eric Bramer blocks down for Verndale. Norrie reads that perfectly, knows it's coming his way. It's going to be a block, a run, not a pass. He comes flying in and brings down Ashman. Good open field tackle by Norrie.
Casey Fink, good blocking back. And he's big, 6'3", 235, but Norrie able to get right around him. So 3rd down and 11 at the Verndale 44. Umland dropping back to throw. Has a receiver. And it is caught by Fink. He's got room to run after breaking a tackle. He's still on his feet. The 15 spins at the 10. He's on his way to the end zone. Touchdown, Pirates.
Well, Casey Fink is coming off a 7-month. He has an ACL, a torn ACL after wrestling last year. And if you watch that spin, he's showing no ill effects of that at midfield. But that is just all Casey Fink's second effort. As we watch the replay, they set up a screen. A great call here. Umland takes a deep drop, gets it to Fink, and watch as he breaks and runs through 2 or 3 Nicollet defenders, his own man, Loveless. And watch this little nifty move. The pirouette right here. The great one's cut back, Clay. He comes back to the middle of the field, goes right for the goalpost. Great run, a great individual effort.
Yeah, he's got 2 pins in his right wrist. Also a wrestling injury suffered last year. You mentioned the ACL. He had surgery last March, but no ill effects being shown, as you mentioned. Touchdown. Here is Umland keeping on the 2-point conversion attempt. He is in, and the Pirates have an 8-0 lead here on Nicollet. 6:52 to play first quarter. The Pirates out to the early lead on Fox 9. Ferndale leading 8-0 here in the first quarter. The Pirates complete a 3-play, 55-yard drive that covers 1 minute and 32 seconds. The big play, Casey Fink. And Fink will also kick off here for the Pirates.
That's the fun thing about 9-man, Clay, is you see these kids on every side of the ball. They play every down and position, much like it was way back when. You get to a 5A game, you're going to have a lot of platooning, a lot of position players, niche players, but it's just fun to see really the kids playing the entire game and doing such a great job.
It is Norrie And Hulke back to receive. And it's kicked out of bounds. Penalty flag down. And Verndale will re-kick.
Well, what an impressive drive, and I just am amazed at that run. Just an amazing individual effort there, as you see Casey Fink. He's just all north and south. They talked about all the time. He's as big as a lineman, shows great quickness. The ACL has slowed him a bit, did Coach Malin tell us this week, but that really sparked Verndale after the mistake that they had with the interception on the first drive to get this early 8-0 lead.
Fink being recruited by Moorhead State. He hasn't decided yet on a college yet. Here's a look at the scoring drive. A big play, the 56-yard catch.
I'll start here.
That's Hulke. Takes it at the 15, 25, the 30, 35, on his feet to the 40. Here we go to midfield. 40, 35, 30, 20. He's going in for the touchdown. And just like that, the Raiders answer back on an 87-yard kickoff return by Tony Hulke. He's just as explosive as Fink is for Verndale.
That's exactly right. No one needs any caffeine this morning. This is just going to be a wide-open game.
Here's a look again.
Watch as he cuts back here to the middle. It just takes one seam. So often you see all the Verndale players are to the right side of the field following the ball instead of staying in their lane, so to speak. And Hulke was able to cut back and had nothing but running room after that first break at about midfield. Averaging 23 yards, or excuse me, he's averaging, I believe, over 30 a game. That was much longer.
Now Hulke under center. Two-point conversion try. He's under pressure. Incomplete pass. Pressured and hit hard. It is 8-6 Verndale. Back with more on Fox 9 after this. There's the guy that scored the touchdown for Nicollet, Tony Hulke, also the quarterback for the Raiders. Hulke's brother Ryan is now a junior forward for Minnesota State Mankato. He's also an assistant coach on this team. He was the quarterback here in '99 when Nicollet played in the state title game and set a Prep Bowl record by throwing 44 passes in a loss to Stephen Argyle, 18-8. And he's really been a big help to his younger brother as he's tried to become a better quarterback here. He wasn't a quarterback coming into the season. He was a running back, but wow, showing a great burst of speed to get Nicollet on the board here. Verndale taking it. It is Tyler Fuller returning it, and let's go down to Ryan Lund.
All right, thanks, guys. Well, nine-man football, obviously there are two less players on each side of the ball out here. But the other thing that's different about the field, right now I'm standing on what is normally the sideline for your average football game. But you come on in here, and this is where we move the sidelines in for nine-man football. Move the sidelines in the dimensions of the field, 40 yards by 100 yards, a much narrower field for nine-man than you play for the rest of the games we'll see today. And in fact, they used to play it with a shorter field, 20 yards shorter. It used to be 40 by 80, but a couple years ago we went to 40 by 100. Either way, these dimensions, the less amount of people, proves to a high-scoring game as we have seen so far.
All right, thank you, Ryan. And they did change that a few years ago. And why did they do that, Steve?
Well, as much as I can gather, they went because you have some schools that have the 100-yard field, and when they went to an 11-man schedule or they played an 11-man team to get a game, it was so hard logistically to do the 80-yard field and everyone. So they just went to this to have it 100 yards, just brought the sidelines in. It's been good, great for everybody.
Umlin. The handoff to Fink, coming near side. Run down there, and the tackle made by J.J. Horning.
That's the one.
Good job by Nicollet there, going down the line to force using the sidelines as their 13th player, 11th or 12th and 13th player. He coached the defense to just go right down that line of scrimmage and meet the ball carrier at the line of scrimmage, and that's what Nicollet did on that play to stop and make a loss actually for Verndale.
So Verndale now second down and long, about 15 yards to go at their own 27-yard line. Call it 2nd and 16. Umlin back back to pass. 5-step drop. Looking right. Has a receiver downfield, but it's thrown incomplete. The intended receiver is Fink. Falls short on the coverage. It is Hulke for Nicollet.
Well, great protection there up front for Verndale.
Actually, that was Bramer, the intended receiver.
Umlin had all day Clay to throw back there and just had a crossing pattern between Carr and Bramer up the field, and great protection. Umlin just wasn't able to get the ball there, and the pass falls short, but just excellent protection.
Verndale with an early lead here, first quarter, 8-6. Nicollet trailing for the first time this season. They have not been behind in any ball game yet this year. Out of the backfield, it's Kyle Ashman, but he is hog-tied down at the 27-yard line. Jamie Wagner in there on the hit. And Verndale will be forced to punt, so a nice defensive stand here. And you sense that the momentum might be shifting now into Nicolet's favor. Let's take a look at the Nissan replay on this one.
And hopefully you'll be able to see Wagner do an excellent individual. He'll sneak right around the blockers. That's just excellent quickness by Wagner. We talked about at the beginning, Verndale has to get a pad on Wagner in every play. They have been successful in the first part of the first quarter, but he read that beautifully, went to his right, got around the interference up front, and made a great tackle on a big back like Fink.
So Fink is back to kick. And Norrie deep to receive for the Raiders. There's a penalty flag down on the play. Actually, before the play.
I think we had some movement on Verndale.
Yeah. And that's the call. So,
Kevin Firstnow, our umpire here, today's game. That's what drives coaches nuts, Clay, is when you have a penalty like that on a punt or a wide receiver jump off sides. All I have to do is watch the ball, and that's what gives coaches gray hairs when those kind of mistakes happen.
That's Verndale's third penalty. They've got 15 total yards and penalties already. Here's Norrie at midfield into Verndale territory where he's knocked down. Eric Bramer in on the stop there. So here comes Nicollet back on offense. They fell behind early, and as I mentioned, for just the first time this season, Tom Murphy says that this is his fastest team, and he just loves the fact that his guys have been able to play in the Metrodome here the last couple of weeks. He says he's got about 6 or 8 guys that run the 40 under 5 flat, and he said his guys were just salivating, thinking about the opportunity to play in the Metrodome in the semifinals and here in the Prep Bowl.
And that may be the only good thing you can say about the turf, that you're going to have the speedy guys be a lot more quick on this turf.
Hulke to throw on first down, and it is well incomplete. The intended receiver was Norrie, and Tyler Fisher there on the coverage.
In high school games early on, you have the adrenaline going, as you can see. Hulke going to the sideline again to either suggest something or get something from Coach Murphy as he comes back in. But the adrenaline is going, as you can imagine, in a high school game, even though it's 8 in the morning. That may be a situation with Hulke's first 2 passes being so far overthrown. It's tough to judge with all these blue seats in here. It's tough to pick up some depth perception early on. So we'll see if Hulke can bring that pass down here as the game goes on. He's over 2.
Hulke with a couple of receivers to the right, but he does pitch. It's Norrie coming out of the backfield in over the 40-yard line, knocked down after 38 by Umland and Bramer. Well short of the first down. A little over 4 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Let's take another look at that play. Norrie going to his right.
You see good chop block up front in the interior there to spring Norrie outside. Just out the outstretched arms of Eric Bramer. Good job by Norrie to get outside.
Coming into this game, Norrie, 85 carries, 570 yards, 7 touchdowns. Here's Hulke. As a receiver, it is caught for the first down. Stop made by Fuller. That catch by Mike Rosine. Rosine, sophomore, has 8 touchdowns on the season. His brother Steve, a standout running back at Minnesota State Mankato. Rosine, big touchdown in the semifinal win.
On that, just a little flare out to the side. They fake the sweep, and a good pass by Hulke just drops it over the edge. Doesn't have to think about gunning it downfield, and was able to set his feet, get a nice touch pass for the first down.
2 receivers to the right. Hulke, the southpaw, cocks his arm, now throws, incomplete. A couple of receivers down there. And it'll bring up second down.
And as you can see, Nicollet is not used to this situation. They've outscored their opponents 232-21 in the first quarter of the season. And as you mentioned, Clay, they haven't been behind at all this season. So this is very new territory for the Nicollet Raiders.
Second down and 10. Hulke brings him up to the line. He is 1 for 5 passing for 7 yards. He has 2 men in the backfield. A receiver to the right. It's Brash. Back to Wagner at the 30. And run down at the 29. A pickup of about 2 yards. And Kyle Ashman and Fisher in there on the stop.
Ashman came flying up as we see him from his free safety position. He read that perfectly, and this a great open field tackle. He's coming up at full speed, and you have the Nicollet back coming at him full speed. It just takes a tremendous amount of effort to break down, not run past the fake by the Nicollet back as he's trying to get past Ashman, but a great open field tackle there to prevent a big gain, bringing up a third and relatively long for Nicollet.
Nicollet 3 receivers to the left. It is a halfback option pass. Norrie downfield. It is incomplete. Corey Umland in on the coverage.
Well, Clay, that's what I talked about at the beginning. Coach Murphy talked to me for about 10 minutes on different plays they might run, and this is one of them. As you can see, they've set up the pass, or excuse me, they set this up. Good job by Verndale not to fall for it, but they've run that sweep a couple times, that pitch play. That time, Norrie wasn't able to sneak Anderson out to get that. A good job downfield by Umland to recognize that and get back and break it up. But that was the kind of things that Nicollet wanted to do early on. Set up the sweep and then come back with that guard eligible downfield. Just didn't go for him. Verndale, excuse me, did a great job of reading that.
Jake Anderson was the guard eligible. They're going to go for it on 4th down. And it's going to pay off. Hulke hits his receiver, Mike Rosine.
Well, this is a great...
Kramer on the stop.
I'm sorry, Clay, to interrupt, but it's so exciting to watch this. Nicollet's watching Verndale. They're leaving Rosine uncovered. That may have been a checkoff. Watch as Hulke right away, just quick release. It could be a fire call on a blitz. A lot of times the tight end will come out like that. If he sees his defender go in, he'll scream fire, and the quarterback's job is just get him the ball. And that looked to me like it was a checkoff or an individual effort by Hulke and Rosine to get that first down.
Throwing on 1st down. It is Wagner. And on a misdirection play, he's hit hard in the backfield. That's going to be a loss of yardage. Casey Fink in on the hit. Ashman there too.
When Wagner would be well advised to not come into the middle field here. Watch as he comes back in, trying to get to his blocking to get upfield, but I'm not sure I'd want to come into those two gentlemen again for Verndale. He got pasted.
Wagner, a tough kid. He's the Class A 160-pound runner-up in wrestling last year, but he had a couple of guys bearing down on him there, and it's a loss of a yard. So 2nd down and 11. Hulke to throw. Goes to the end zone. Just out of the reach. The outstretched arms of Bratch. Corey Umland there on the coverage. Now bring up 3rd down and 11.
We see Hulke rolling to his right again, a left-hander, sets up well, squares his shoulders, and just over Bratch's outstretched arms. Umland with good coverage, but so far in those 3 passes downfield, Hulke has been overthrowing his receivers in the mid-range passes. The short dump pass to Rosine. In those 2 plays to keep this drive alive, he's been right on the mark.
Hulke's connected before on long yardage situations, and he does again. Norrie getting in for the touchdown. Norrie with a great catch and a great effort after the reception.
Well, just as I mentioned, how Hulke has had a tough time down the field. He feathers one into the, you hear Joe Sensor calling, the Vikings calls it the side pocket on the sideline there. He has to throw it over a linebacker, if we'll see here on the replay. Hulke doing a good job looking there all the way, and he just over the outstretched arms of the Verndale defender. I didn't catch a number there, but that's a great pass by Hulke into that, what they call the side pocket there, out over the outside linebacker in front of the cornerback.
Going for 2. Hulke to the end zone. It is caught by Norrie. And Nicollet doesn't like being behind. It's the first time this year they've been behind. Didn't like it much. They're back out in front. 14-8 now with 1:28 to go in the first quarter.
Well, we said we'd have a lot of points, and that's proving to be the case. But Nicollet on that drive had 2 key plays. The 2 first downs to Rosine on 3rd and 4th down to keep the drive alive. And a great individual effort. Hulke's first pass downfield to get into that side pocket to get in for the score by Norrie. As you can watch here, we'll see if we can catch a number of the outstretched arms. He's throwing it right over Fisher's arms for Verndale. Norrie does a great job, and he stays on his feet and just breaks the plane with the ball.
His third receiving touchdown of the season. Here's another look at that effort. Did a good job of staying in bounds, too.
Excellent job of staying in bounds, but I can't stress enough how tough a pass that is for Hulke, because he's looking downfield and all he sees is a green shirt in front of him, and sometimes you're actually throwing blind behind that up front linebacker to Norrie, knowing where he'll be. It's almost a spot pattern, but great job there by Nicollet to get ahead after being behind for the first time this year.
10 plays, 47 yards, a little over 3 minutes in time. Hulke, his 29th touchdown pass of the season. For Norrie, his 8th touchdown overall of the year. So now Verndale, who struck first this morning, gets the ball, and will have to play from behind. It's Tyler Fuller. That's about the 35-yard line. Tackle again made by Wagner. And spotted at the 36. That's where the Pirates will take over, 1st and 10. Pirates coached by Michael Malin. As we mentioned, 34 years as head coach at Verndale. He's also the AD at the school. He's been the AD and coach for 25 years. Teaches 5 classes of physical education as well. Happy to bring his team back to the Metrodome for the state title game. Pirates won it all in 1997. They've been to the state tournament 11 times. Ashman across the 40 to the 43-yard line. Norrie again on the stop. And it'll be 2nd down and about 3.
Well, and Verndale going back to the plays that they started in the first drive of the game, getting it off tackle to Ashman. You can see just a great run by him again. They get into the linebacking core of Nicollet, and those spin moves they must work on, because those Fink and Ashman have both done that superbly to get extra yards.
Umlin, hands on. It is Fink. Not a lot of running room, but he's close to a 1st down. Probably picked up a yard and a half, so it'll be 3rd down and short. Again, Norrie on the stop.
Well, again, straight ahead running there by Fink. Couldn't break through for the 1st down as he did in the touchdown screen pass when he ran over a couple Nicollet defenders. Brings up 3rd and short, but again, they're going back to the plays they used in the first series, just kind of right up the middle, using the horses that got them here.
Fink and Ashman. Malin says that this is the best running back tandem that he has ever had in his time at Verndale. Umlin keeps, and it's going to be enough for a 1st down. So a pickup of about a yard on the play. It's enough for a Verndale 1st down. And we're just about to the end of the 1st quarter. Nicollet is going to take a 14-8 lead into quarter number 2. It's the 9-man championship game. And on the Menard scoreboard, Nicollet is leading Verndale 14-8. Back with the 2nd quarter on Fox 9 after this. For joining us this morning, it's the 9-man championship game with Steve Barley. I'm Clay Manford. It was a good 1st quarter.
Great 1st quarter.
And Nicollet coming out on top after the first 15 minutes. I should say 12 minutes. 14-8 as we head to quarter number 2. 3 men in the backfield for Ferndale. Umlin rolling to his left. Keeps and knocked down after a pickup of about 2 yards. Tony Hulke in on the stop.
On that time, Verndale is faking that play inside to Fink, and Coach Malin likes Umlin as a runner. He gets to the outside, and that time Jamie Wagner for Nicollet shot through a gap, but just behind Umlin. He did a great job to get around the end to make it back to the line of scrimmage as he was behind the line of scrimmage going on the line.
Actually, they spotted it at the 41.5-yard line, so it's no gain, so it's 2nd down and 10. Umlin. He's going to throw. Looking downfield. A floater. Comes down. Incomplete. Good coverage there by Tony Hulke. It was intended for Eric Erkenbrock. Let's go down to Tom Linneman.
Well, the key play in a game that's already had a bunch of big plays, I think, was the 4th and 7 pass by Tony Hulke. He hits Mike Rosine over the middle. It was a hot read. Excellent decision by Hulke. Just take a look at the play right here. Kept the drive alive and led to the second touchdown. Clay?
Thanks, Tom. So it will be 3rd down and 10. And Verndale calls a timeout here in the second quarter with 11:09 to play. Nicollet leading 14-8. It's the 9-man championship game on Fox 9. You're watching Prep Bowl 21.
Bowl 21 on Fox 9.
Nicollet and Verndale in the 9-man championship game. With Steve Varley, I'm Clay Matvick. Glad to have you along this morning on Fox 9. Nicollet leading 14-8 with 11:09 to play here in the second quarter. Big 3rd down here for Verndale. So far today on 3rd down conversions, the Pirates 2 for 4. Umland under center has receivers to both sides. Single man in the backfield. He's rolling to his left and under pressure, sacked at about the 42-43 line. Jamie Wagner coming in to make the hit.
When Clay Wagner was there almost before Umland had a chance to set up, he just flew through, picks the gap, times it perfectly. They run a stunt. You can see he's unblocked as he comes through and gets into the legs of Umland. That's exactly what you need to do as a defensive linebacker. You just don't want to react to a fake by a quarterback. Get into their legs because the quarterback has nothing on the ball unless they can use their legs to throw. Great job by Nicollet in a crucial 3rd down play for Verndale to stop this drive.
Sack number 6 on the season for Wagner, and Verndale forced to punt. So Nicollet with the lead will get the ball back. And in very good field position, I might add. Norrie back to receive it, calls for the fair catch at the 34-yard line. That's where the Raiders will have it when we come back. 14-8, Nicollet. It's about 10-9 here on Saturday morning. If you're just rolling out, glad to have you along this morning on Fox 9. This is the 9-man championship game at the Metrodome. Alongside Steve Varley, I'm Clay Matvick, and our crew here from Fox Sports Net and Channel 9 welcomes you as well. It is Nicollet with the ball, 1st and 10. Tony Hulke looking to throw. The left-hander cocks his arm, fires downfield. It is long, intended for Paul Norrie, streaking down the right sideline. Umland there on the coverage.
Well, this game is
trying to wake up here.
Yeah, this game has lived up to its billing here with a lot of points in the first quarter, as you see the play from Coach Murphy to Hulke there. But that time, just a streak pattern by all the receivers for Nicollet. They just went straight down the field, trying to pick a seam and have Hulke lead them in the middle. They're trying to get someone in the middle of the field where there's so much room. And Coach Murphy talked about that. Is the thing about 9-man is that once you miss person one time, they're gone. You just have no way to make up for that with the 2 defenders not being there in the 9-man game.
Norrie went in motion. They dump it off to Rosine. He's got it at the 40. He's still on his feet at midfield. Breaks the tackle, pushed out of bounds. And about the 43-yard line, Casey Fink able to run him out. But a 1st down and much more, and now Nicollet into Verndale territory.
Well, and this is where Nicollet's had a lot of success play. They've been able to do these dump passes right over the offensive line. You can see just a great touch pass there by Hulke into Rosine's hands, and he heads to the outside, breaks Fisher's tackle and tries to get it around Umland. Gets up the field, but that's where they've had the most success. Trying to throw things down the field, they haven't had much success so far. Verndale stopped that. It's his intermediate patterns that have been successful for Nicollet.
Rosine, just a sophomore, gets a lot of time for Tom Murphy's squad. Hulke keeps and run out at about the 35, maybe the 36-yard line. Eric Bramer there on the stop. So it'll be 2nd down for Nicollet. The Raiders in the lead here, 14-8 in the 9-man championship game. There's Murphy communicating with Hulke. Actually, Hulke does a lot of his own play calling. You see that more in the second half. But certainly him and Murphy have a very good relationship, get along very well, and they have a lot of trust in each other.
One excellent relationship, not only in football, but there are also a bunch of track guys in this team. Tom Murphy's very close to this unit, as the players are to him. But you're right, it's so great to watch a quarterback call his own plays. Didn't get a timeout there as they looked like
they wanted a timeout. so much for the communication.
Yeah.
Batted down at the line. And a great defensive play there by Verndale. And it's too bad for Nicollet that they didn't get that timeout. They could have used it. It's going to be 3rd down now. Wyatt Carr in there to bat it down. And there you see Michael Malin, the head coach. Here's a look at the Nissan replay.
Seeing as they roll to his right, again trying to do this little dump pass. Looks like Kneisel got a mid on it, coming off a great semifinal game. He had 5 sacks last week in the semifinal game to get them to this 10 on the year now play.
Hulke 2 for 4 on 3rd down conversions. He gives to Wagner. Wagner on 3rd down picks up maybe a couple, but he's going to be at least 2 short of the 1st down.
And getting back to the play calling, here's where it's going to, as they're going to call a timeout, looks like is Nicollet. But getting back to this, this is where it's so important for a quarterback calling his own plays, because he can tell the coach what this 4th down play should be. It really becomes an interaction that's so much more beneficial for the offensive team.
We've got a timeout on the field. 8:54 to play in the 1st half. Nicollet leading 14-8 in the state 9-man championship game. Nicollet leading 14-8. It's a big 4th down play here for the Raiders. Nicollet outscoring opponents 370-32 in the 1st half. They've got the lead now, but not by much. They sure could use a 1st down here.
Big play here, Clay.
Hulke, 2 running backs behind him. Receiver to the right. Keeps the option to Wagner. I think he has enough for the 1st down. He does. Across the 30, maybe the 29. Ashman on the stop, but not before Nicollet picks up the 1st down. 1st and 10.
Well, on the 3rd down play, after that play was done, you saw Hulke just say right away, let's go for it. And he was calling to Coach Murphy for a play. This is, you know, he probably saw something. They're keying on him inside. This is the first time we've seen a speed option to the outside, a true option, so to speak. He's reading it the whole way, but great individual effort again on 4th down for Nicollet.
Nicollet now 2 for 2 on 4th down conversions. Hulke to the air, almost intercepted. Kyle Ashman almost picked it off.
Well, and Ashman, I think, was going for the hit there, kind of caught in between. You can see his hands got up late here in the replay. Watch again the fake the bootleg, fake the sweep, excuse me, going the bootleg. Hulke again a little high with his pass downfield, and that time I think Ashman was ready to wrap up. Just got his hands up late.
Horning in the seam was the intended receiver, but too tall for him. Almost intercepted. Hulke now 5 for 13 passing, 59 yards, and of course the touchdown. Cody Wilking keeps the ball. And tackled there by Jason Kneisel. So it'll be 3rd down and 10.
Good job by Verndale. The first time we've seen that, the veer set, so to speak, where they have the ends turned in. A lot of different sets by Nicollet. Verndale doing a great job of reading that and keeping it to a 3rd and 10. And Coach Murphy talked to me about using Hulke as a receiver maybe and bringing in a sophomore quarterback. So they're bringing in offensive sets. Anything. The playbook will be empty when this game is done for Nicollet.
Hulke on 3rd down, looking to pass, under pressure, being chased, throws it, almost intercepted. Josh Richter had it and dropped it, and it'll be 4th down.
Watch here as Bramer was 11.5 sacks on the season. He does an excellent job, number 73 for Verndale. He comes in arms up. He doesn't go for any of the fakes by Hulke. That's a great play for a defensive lineman, excuse me. And Richter there just was probably surprised the ball was coming to him. It was just thrown right to him.
So here comes Matthias Hellblum. He will attempt the field goal. From 47 yards out, it is going to be well short and a little bit wide right. Hellblum, a foreign exchange student from Sweden, learned how to play football back in August. His first field goal attempt here, a long one, and it's unsuccessful. Let's go down to the field to Ryan Lund.
All right, well, I'm here on a frustrated Verndale sideline. You're looking at head coach Mike Mullen. He's not a man of many words, but he was not happy with his team's defensive effort there on that last series for Nicollet. A couple of dropped potential interceptions, a third down conversion for Verndale. He was yelling at his team to drive through those tackles after they make contact. Thought that they were making contact but not finishing off the play. Also saying, hey, we're just not making those big plays. When you get a chance at an interception, a play like that, you got to finish it. Right now, Verndale not doing it, but they catch a break with the missed field goal. Guys?
I agree with Ryan 100%. In games like this, you have to capitalize on big plays, and they just were not doing it. 2 excellent chances for Verndale with the ball directly in their hands. That's what wins these games. Whoever wins the turnover matchup or the momentum matchup, a lot of times is what's going to win this game. The other thing that happens when you get inside the dome, and both coaches talked about it, they like the turf, but it's the heat. The kids aren't aware of the heat as you get in here. That's the humidity. They're coming in from today, sub-zero weather, or at least Minnesota-type winter weather. They come in here and you get the humidity. A lot of times they get short of breath, and that's another big adjustment that the kids have to make.
Verndale defensively loves to hit. Malin admits that. Holding opponents to just 33 first-quarter points all season, just 140 points allowed altogether this season, but they've given up 14 here in the first half. They've got the ball now and pick up 5 on the carry. That's Allerson and Wagner in on the stop, the carry by Fink.
Well, Clay, the coaching staff, this may be a spark that they need. That they dropped the 2 interceptions in their hands, did Verndale. But then the coaching staff was upset at the end of that field goal. They thought it was still a live ball, and we're trying to run that back. A little miscommunication. The referees didn't side their way, and so we're seeing a little spark on the Verndale side here with a great individual effort there by Fink again, getting 2-3 yards after he's hit initially by the Nicollet defenders.
Verndale, which beat Climax Fisher in the semifinal game to get here to prep for it. As it's second down and 5. That is Ashman with a big run. He breaks loose across the 35, close to the 40. He'll spot it at the 39-yard line. The hit made there by Mike Rosine.
Well, Rosine made the hit, but Ashman was way down the field. You can watch this right side. You have Bramer and Lovelace just caving down the left side, the right side of the Nicollet defense. Left side, the Nicollet defense. And Ashman with those long strides. Looked like Robert Smith. That's what they talked about. Those long strides gets him in the secondary very quickly.
14-yard pickup. Ashman now with 80 yards on the ground. This time they give it to Fink. It's that 1-2 punch, and on first down he picks up a yard.
And they're so good. We've watched just great individual efforts for the Verndale running backs. Not only are they running and hitting the holes well, but it's the individual effort when they get in the open field, the reverse pivot, the cut back to the middle of the field. Those are things that are just instinctual by playing 4 years. That's another nice thing about Nyman. These kids get to play a lot of football, and they know the game real well. It's a good job, and they're riding their horses as Verndale right now, trying to get into this game here before half, hopefully going ahead.
Second down and 9. 2-back set. It's Ashman over the left side. Wagner now with his 9th tackle of the ball game. Runs him out of bounds. It'll bring up about 3rd and 6.
There you see Wagner making that tackle. He's running sideline to sideline here at his middle linebacker position, but we're seeing a lot of spark like we saw in the first drive of Verndale. Sparked after the missed field goal by Nicollet. They're really getting a good surge as that front offensive line, getting a good surge off the ball, opening up some seams for those running backs for Verndale.
Now a 3-back set. Umland to pass. He's pressured. Good pass downfield as a receiver wide open, but too tall for Kyle Ashman. A great pass downfield, but Ashman can't run under it.
No, he can't. It looked as though he may have been looking back just as Umland was getting some pressure and slowed up just a bit as Newman did a great job of getting in there, but Umland does an equally good job of getting out to his left. But I think Ashman had thought that there was a sack and stopped just a bit. Coach Malin talked about Kneisel, the center for Verndale, having just a tough matchup against Jeff Newman from Nicollet. Talked to him about being the best defensive lineman he's seen.
So Verndale will punt here on 4th down. It's Norrie back for the Raiders. And there's a whistle and a penalty flag down. 4:51 to play here in the first half. movement on the Verndale line.
That's the second time, Clay, we've seen that again. Much back to what Ryan Lund was talking about on the Coach Malin being frustrated with the play so far. He just doesn't feel that they're playing up to their potential, and those 2 penalties are just silly penalties, something where they're mentally not in the game, or those things just shouldn't happen.
4th penalty, 20 yards in penalties so far for the Pirates. Ashman to punt it away. The snap is high, but he brings it back down, gets it away. Norrie coming up, fields it at the 36 on the run, avoids the hit, and is tossed out of bounds at about the 44-yard line by Ashman. Ashman kicked it away and then got down there and made the hit. Also Fink.
And Bramer almost had Norrie made a great individual effort, a gutsy effort, in my opinion, coming up and catching it on the fly, as you said, and Eric Bramer there for Verndale was about ready to tear him apart, and he was able just to sneak by. Looks like we have a personal foul penalty against Verndale. It's going to be tacked on at the end of this play. I didn't see the late flag come in there, but Norrie did a good job. A lot of times in this turf, it's so tough when you're out of doors. You can play the bounce on a regulation, or excuse me, on a grass field, a regulation field for high schools. But when you get in the dome here, a lot of times kids don't want to let it hit the ground.
Here's a look at the play.
See if we can pick it up here late. Well, it looks like it was an out-of-bounds hit. Jason Kneisel, number 72, it looked like may have been the call out of bounds.
So a big opportunity here after the penalty on Verndale. It's 1st down and 10 at the 40-yard line. Wagner the run. Over the right side to the 35-yard line. Corey Umland the stop. 4 possessions this game for the Raiders and resulted in a couple of touchdowns.
Well, more importantly, they've come back from being down for the first time at all this year. The entire year they did not trail at all, and Verndale came down and was driving for 1 score early, was able to get a touchdown on their second drive, pinning the Raiders to an 8-0 setback. But they've been able to come back well and really drive well on key 4th down plays to keep things going.
Player limping off for Verndale. It's Eric Bramer. He's treating that right ankle, it looks like, a little gingerly. Good crowd here for Verndale. And Coach Michael Malin told me that even though this team has been to the state tournament 11 times, to the state title game 5 times, the fans in Verndale still offer great support.
Unbelievable support, and he talked about the disappointing season for Verndale last year, where they were expected to be here, had much bigger aspirations last year, and this year knew they had some good individual efforts, didn't know how they'd gel, but after coming back from a 12-0 deficit in the 3rd game against Chico, Alberta, he knew there was something special about this team, and that support has certainly helped from the town.
2nd down and 5. The pitch to Wagner. Wagner spun down at the 35-yard line. In on the stop, Isaac Johnson. Also Ashman there. And it's a loss of about a yard. It'll bring up 3rd down. Here's another look.
Boy, and Isaac Johnson did a great job here for Verndale as he comes up from his corner spot. As you can see, Wagner's trying to set it up going inside out. But Isaac Johnson was able to get through there, even though he was pinned inside, and was able to still get into Wagner's leg to make a great tackle. It's a good job by Isaac Johnson.
So far today, Nicollet 2 for 6 on 3rd down. This is her 3rd down play. Hulke to Wagner. It is intercepted. Picked off by Tyler Fisher. And the Pirates have it back with 3:22 to play here in the 2nd quarter.
Well, Tyler Fisher is the leading tackler on the Pirates team, but that time did a great job of watching the receiver, and we'll see late he came back and just turned his head and made a great play. These are the kind of passes the last drive that Verndale was dropping that were right in their hands. Hulke this time, I think, looking straight down the field, checks late to his right side, trying to force it in there, but you see it's well covered. And Fisher does a great job of catching the ball. Again, he was watching the receiver the whole way, turned at the last minute watching the receiver's eyes, and made a great interception for Verndale.
So here's an opportunity for Umland and the Pirates. He has a receiver to the right. Handoff, 2nd man through. It is Ashman. He's out over the 25. to the 26-yard line. Stopped there by Wilking. 2nd down and 1.
You mentioned at the beginning how Nicollet covers up the entire line for Verndale. You'll watch when they come up here, there'll be a white jersey over every offensive lineman for Verndale, making it that much tougher for them to do what they want to do with their backs, and yet you're still getting an 8-9 yard surge from Ashman and Fink. So a great job up front by Verndale so far.
2 men in the backfield behind Umlin. The give to Fink, and he is stopped short of the first down. Jeff Newman making the tackle.
Good stop by Nicollet there. Doing a little slanting up front, stopping them short. Just a no-nonsense play by Verndale, trying to keep the chains going. And Nicollet does a good job in their base defense, just slanting a little bit, mixing up the offensive line call for Verndale.
Fink and Ashman in the backfield. 3rd down and 1 for the Pirates. Give to the 2nd man through. It is Ashman. That is his 10th carry of the ball game, but this one is going to go for a loss. Newman and Horning combine on the tackle. A big stop for the Raiders. After turning it over, the defense really sucking it up.
You're right, Clay. After turning it over and then a 9-yard run by Ashman right out of the chute on 1st down, they come with 2 big stops there. That time, Nauman shoots through the gap and got in the legs of Ashman for a great stop on 3rd down, forcing Verndale to punt deep in their territory again.
So Fink to punt, and Norrie back to receive. He's at his own 43-yard line. Bad snap, but Fink is able to pick it up off the turf. Takes a bounce, and a good Verndale roll. It's out of bounds at the 21-yard line. A great punt by Fink. And with 1:03 to play here in the first half, Nicollet will get it 1st and 10.
Well, and that's what we talked about. The last punt, you saw Norrie come up and make the play and not allow the ball to hit the ground. And that's what we're talking about. That a lot of times coaches will tell you, in the dome, don't let it hit the ground if at all possible. That time, Norrie made a decision to let it bounce. You can see what can happen. This thing can roll for miles here without any conditions in the flat surface. And it does get up a great. Verndale takes them from deep in their own territory, puts them all the way down, pins Nicollet in their own territory.
Let's go down to Ryan Lund for a quick injury update.
All right, guys, number 73, Eric Bramer, came off of the last defensive series for Verndale. They are working on his left ankle here over on the Verndale bench. Right now they have it iced down with the Verndale defense out on the field. Safe to assume he won't be back in this first half, but it appears that they're working on it and maybe going to try and get Bramer back out there in the second half. Guys?
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. We're under a minute to go on the Warner Stallion game clock. That run by Wagner. A pickup of 7 yards on 1st down, so it's 2nd and 3 for the Raiders. Mike Malin, the head coach of Verndale. His team will likely be behind going into the locker room at halftime. 2nd down and 4. Horning gives to the 2nd man through. It's Wagner. He's got enough for a 1st down and then some. About a 6-yard pickup. Stopped there by Tyler Fuller.
Again, Wagner off the guard, and he cuts back so quick to move laterally like that once he gets in the secondary to pick up that 1st down. A good run by Wagner, seeing the whole field. And again, that's just experience with most of these players who played 2 or 3 years, and you get that instinctive feel if you're a running back.
And that's going to be the last play of the first half. Nicollet and Verndale, a couple of very high-scoring teams, playing a relatively low-scoring first half. It is 14-8 here after 24 minutes of action.
Right. In the first quarter, we saw a lot of action. That second quarter, more reserved, Clay, more than what we thought. Teams really settled down and got into it. We saw some momentum shifts with Verndale not capitalizing on some potential interceptions. And then they've been able to keep Nicollet in check, and Nicollet not able to run some of their gadget plays. They've used those early. Verndale does a good job of stopping that and keeping it close here.
Nicollet 13-0, Verndale 12-0. We knew this was going to be a good ball game coming in. So far it has. The Raiders leading 14-8 after the first half. Let's go down to Ryan Lund.
All right, guys, thank you. With Tom Murphy, head coach Nicollet. Coach, you're up 14-8. Familiar position for you. You're used to going into the locker room at halftime with the lead, but in a game like this, how is it a little bit different?
These guys are good. I mean, we go in thinking we've got this game won, we're in trouble. You know, they're going to come out ready to go after us, and we have to respond to that. So we're happy, but there's a long way to go yet.
Talk about the play of Paul Norrie there in the first half. I can't remember a guy coming up with so many big plays in one half of football.
Paul, you know, it's really neat. We have different kids each week come out and do things for us. We feel we have a lot of ball players, and you know, Paul's making some plays for us. Hopefully everybody will take his lead in the second half, and we can make some more things happen.
You showed a lot of confidence in your kicker, letting him go for that field goal there.
Yeah, he's, you know, made in practice 45-yarders. We thought, well, with the missed extra point that we had, you know, try to get a one-possession lead, and you know, it was kind of risky, but you know, it's worth it if we get up. When he hits field goals, it really fires the kids up. So we thought, what the heck, defense is playing well. Let's give it a try.
All right, Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tom Murphy, head coach at Nicollet. The Raiders leading Verndale 14-8 here at halftime of the Class 9-man championship game. Back at Metrodome with more from the Prep Bowl. Back to Metrodome and the Northland Ford halftime report. Nicollet leading Verndale 14-8. The Raiders 1 half away from the first state championship in school history. However, a very tight game, as you heard Coach Tom Murphy say. They definitely can't go into the locker room thinking they have this thing won. Ryan Lund here with Tom Linneman. Tom, we've seen our first half of 12. We're going to see 12 halves of football today. Your thoughts so far?
Well, I thought Verndale played well on defense, although they did not capitalize. There were a couple opportunities where they could have made interceptions, but they didn't. The key of the first half, also Nicollet getting that touchdown on special teams. Tony Halke returning a kick to the house. Those type of things win championship games.
How big was that touchdown? Verndale scores first. They're up 8-0. Nicollet immediately answers. How much does that do for Nicollet's confidence and for the momentum in the game?
Well, momentum is very important, especially in a high school game like this. Emotions are running high. These kids are all hopped up. They're excited. A play like that can bring Nicollet back into the game, and it helped their defense.
They're all hopped up and excited, even this early in the morning?
Yes, just like we are.
That's right. You got that right. Well, we have much more here on the Northland Ford halftime report. We will come back at Metrodome with an interview, highlights, and much, much more from our first game of 6. Prep Bowl 21. Back with more. Northland Ford halftime report. The Raiders on top of the Pirates 14-8 at halftime of our Class 9-man championship game, the first of 6 championship games here at Prep Bowl. We're all ready for the long haul, a long day, and that includes the players, coaches, us here on the crew, and of course the cheerleaders and the fans. Lynn Turner is the supervisor of cheerleaders for the Minnesota State High School League. She joins us. And Lynn, what exactly do you do as cheerleading supervisor?
Well, I first meet the cheerleaders as they come down into the dome and show them where they can change, and then where they can and can't cheer, and some of the ground rules for being in the Metrodome. This is obviously the biggest place any of them will have cheered all year.
Sure.
And then after that, I do a check on their safety, that make sure that they have short nails, their hair's back, and they're following the rules that way, not wearing any jewelry. And then I tell them to have a great time.
So we've got some strict dress codes here at Metrodome for Prep Bowl and the cheerleaders. Do all the girls who are here ready and just fired up to go, do you kind of have to get everybody to calm down? It's so exciting being here for Prep Bowl in the Metrodome, and as you said, it's an environment that most of them probably haven't been in before.
They're actually, for the most part, pretty nervous.
Yeah.
Especially the games that get televised, and not only the Metrodome, but the other high school league tournaments, state tournaments through the year. They're usually pretty overwhelmed when they come in and see how big everything is, and that there's going to be TV cameras and just the excitement.
I would imagine that a game like this and an environment like this, it makes their job a little bit easier because it doesn't take much to get the fans fired up.
Right, right. They all enjoy great crowd support here.
All right. Well, Lynn Turner, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck with the next 5 batches of cheerleaders. It's the beginning of a very long but a very fun day.
Absolutely, a lot of fun.
All right, thank you very much. Lynn Turner, supervisor of cheerleading here for the Minnesota State High School League. We will be back with much more Northland Ford halftime report. Back at Metrodome, 14-8. The Raiders on top of the Pirates. A few minutes left to go here. Halftime of the Prep Bowl 9-man championship game. The beautiful Lynn Turner has been replaced by the beautiful Tom Linneman. Let's take a look at some beautiful first half highlights here. And this game got off to a very fast start, scoring in the first quarter. It was Verndale who got on the board first.
Yeah, they did. Little screen pass here, but watch some of the moves. Breaking tackles, broke his own team's tackle there. And then here's the pirouette, right? Unbelievable move for the touchdown. This is the type of play in a big game. You have to make these plays.
Casey Fink with the long touchdown run. Then Casey Fink on the kickoff. The big man can do a lot. Fink kicking off to Hulke.
Tony Hulke, a quarterback. Gotta love small school football. You got the quarterback returning kicks. They never let me do that. He brings it back to the house. A big momentum change here for the Nicollet Raiders.
So it was 8-0 after the Fink touchdown. Hulke makes it 8-6. Nicollet unable to convert on the two-point conversion, but the Raiders go down here. Hulke to Norrie.
Beautiful pass and an even better effort to get into the end zone. Norrie was huge for them in the first half, catching balls. I think Nicollet has to continue to get the ball to him in the second half.
The Raiders do convert the two-pointer there. That makes it 14-8. Taking a look at our halftime statistics, and as you see, Nicollet having the edge in first downs, not rushing as much as Verndale. Somewhat surprising there.
Yeah, it is a little bit, but Verndale does play good defense. Unfortunately for them, they were unable to capitalize on a couple turnover opportunities, but the Nicollet head coach was very impressed with Verndale's defense at half.
Verndale having the edge in most of those categories, including time of possession, but of course the numbers that matter most, 14-8 on the scoreboard, and the time of possession also in favor of Verndale because Nicollet returning that kickoff, they didn't need the ball much. Special teams
make a big difference. It's a third of the game. A lot of coaches don't remember that. It's a very important thing, and put Nicollet over the top in the first half.
Well, we heard Verndale's head coach not pleased that his team wasn't making big plays in the first half. We'll see if they can change that in the second half and come back on Nicollet. Right now, Verndale trailing 14-8 at halftime. We'll be back with more at Metrodome. Second half action of the 9-man championship game coming up next.
Prep Bowl 21 on Fox 9, a couple of minutes away from the start of the second half in the 9-man championship game between Nicollet and Verndale. The Raiders leading the Pirates 14-8 alongside Steve Barley. I'm Clay Matvick. Well, can Michael Bennett break another 60-yarder against the New England Patriots' weak defense? And will his threat open it up for Dante Culpepper and Randy Moss? The Vikings take on the Super Bowl champions tomorrow at noon right here on Fox 9. Followed by the top two NFC teams in a battle of the Bays. It's going to be the Packers and the Bucks, Green Bay and Tampa Bay. So a good day of football coming up tomorrow after a great day of high school football here today on Fox 9.
Oh, it's been everything that's lived up to. These 9-man games are excellent for offense, for everything about true football. Kids playing both sides of the field. You got kids coming up making big plays that didn't play all year because of injuries. If someone goes down, we've just seen a great first half. Not as much offense as maybe the kids are used to, but that's because they're two good teams playing each other.
We did see some big plays in that first half, a couple of them resulting in touchdowns. Casey Fink got the scoring started with that 56-yard reception from Corey Umland. Then Tony Hulke for Nicollet answered back with an 87-yard kickoff return, just 8 yards short of the all-time Prep Bowl record for kickoff returns for touchdowns. And then Paul Norrie, a 16-yard pass from Tony Hulke. So it's been a good first half, and now we're just moments away from the start of the second.
And that scoring pass to Norrie was set up by a third down conversion and a fourth down conversion on hot reads by the Nicollet quarterback and Rosine. They did a great job of making a fire call. It was a check at the line of scrimmage to keep the drives going. So there's been a lot of different things, a lot of momentum swings in the first half.
Let's talk a little geography here. Some people tuning in now, checking out this 9-man title game, not knowing where Nicollet is, not knowing where Verndale is. Nicollet, about 12 miles northwest of Mankato. The Raiders playing out of the Southern Confederacy Conference. Verndale, about 11 miles west of Staples on Highway 10, between Staples and Wadena up there on Highway 10. And they play out of the Pheasant Conference, the winners of Section 4. And both teams coming into this one undefeated. Verndale won the championship game back in 1997. Their first state title. They beat Cromwell 18-12 that year. Meanwhile, Nicollet has never won a state title game. They were here in 1999, but lost to Stephen Argyle. Let's quickly go down to Ryan Lund.
All right, thank you, Clay. Just spoke with Mike Mullen, head coach of Verndale. Defensively, he was relatively pleased. Obviously, we talked about the dropped potential interceptions by his team. But offensively, he really feels that his offensive line is getting beat up front, not giving the quarterback the protection they need, not opening up the holes for Ashman and Fink. He wants to see more of that here in the second half. But he says, despite all that, he's okay. We're still in the game, only down 6. Clay?
All right, Ryan, Norrie takes it and returns it out to the 27-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Nicollet Raiders. Norrie, of course, with a touchdown there in the first half. The stop made by Fink. So Nicollet, heretofore, has been starting on average at its own 38-yard line. They'll start it here at the 33 on this drive to begin the second half.
And that's a great place to start. You always want to start in midfield or beyond, because you can do so many more things. When you're pinned deep in your territory, you want to protect the ball to kind of punch it out. So great job, or very fortunate is Nicollet to start where they have.
Running on first down, it is Jamie Wagner. He had 8 carries for 28 yards in the first half. Tyler Fisher in on the stop to bring him to the turf.
But I'd like to see how Verndale is going to respond. We saw a lot of frustration, as Ryan Lund talked about, with the coaching staff, and Verndale now playing the way they want to, and feeling that a few things have gone their way, have not gone their way, excuse me. And I looked at them to come on here very fired up in this second half, and it'll be Nicollet's job to kind of quell that, having the lead.
Hulke throwing. It is caught by Rosine. He's got a first down and much, much more. Run out of bounds finally at the 39-yard line of Verndale. Isaac Johnson saved a touchdown by bringing him down from behind.
Well, Clay, Nicollet going back to the plays that worked for them in the first half. Hulke had a little more difficult time throwing it down the field. That time, they go back to a play that's worked for him, a little stem pattern by Rosine. He flares the outside and out pattern, and then it just turns the gas up the field. Great job, great throw, great catch by Nicollet to start the second half.
4th catch of the day for Rosine. That one for 32 yards. On first down, Hulke has some trouble with the snap, but is able to get away. Another great job under pressure by Hulke. And the catch made again by Rosine. Johnson on the stop.
Watch this catch by Rosine here. They're going to fake the option play, but you can watch here, the snap is high. They're going to fake that option to Norrie as he goes left, and watch that one-handed grab by Rosine. Just reaches that paw and grabs a great individual effort, and then immediately swarmed by Verndale.
On first down, second down, the snap is dropped. It looks like Nicollet has recovered. Norrie diving on the loose ball, and Nicollet escaping disaster here early on in the second half.
Let's watch and see who's the ball actually going to. It looks like the snap was just a little high again, going to fake the counter to Norrie, and he's heads up to get on that ball, but just tipped it with his hands as he was going for the fake, and I don't think Hulke had his hands on the ball. Hulke's the quarterback for Nicollet. I don't think he really had to control the ball to try to make that fake.
Norrie rolling to his right. Branch the receiver downfield, but he comes short to Rosine. He makes the catch. It's short of the first down. Ashman in on the stop.
That was a great job by Nicollet. That was a flood pattern to the right-hand side. We'll watch here as Hulke rolls to his right. Again, fakes the sweep. He had Rosine in the backside. He's the backside tight end, so he's on the left-hand side of the formation coming to the right. He saw all the Verndale players over there. He stopped. And is exactly what you're supposed to do, and Hulke read that perfectly and hit him for the first down.
Norrie and Wagner in the backfield. Branch to the right. The handoff to Wagner. And on first down, he gets close to the 25-yard line of Verndale. Tyler Fisher in on the hit. We talked a little bit about the locales of Verndale and Nicollet. That gives you a better visual. This is the 9-man championship game in Prep Bowl 21. Glad to have you along this morning on Fox 9. Steve Barley, who led the '89 St. John's team to the Division III Final Four. You were the quarterback of that team. Glad to have you along in the broadcast.
Thanks very much, Clay, and I owe you $5 for bringing that up.
Hey.
Not too many people are going to remember that.
I'm here for you.
Thank you.
And we got another Johnny down on the field, Tom Linneman, who probably broke all of your records.
Well, Tom is an interesting story, which I'll get to later in the day, but he had a lot more time to break some of those records. So Tom did a great job, led the Johnnies to a championship in 2000, and a great heads-up quarterback for the Johnnies.
So here we go with second down as they attend to the injury of Fisher on the sidelines. Norrie has a 3-receiver set. Pardon me, Hulke. Hulke rolling left on second down. Has some room to run. He is going to be stopped short of the first down, but a nice pickup. Isaac Johnson pulls him down probably about 1.5 yards, maybe 2 yards short of the first down. It'll bring up third. And now Hulke is limping. That's a bad sign for the Raiders.
No, and maybe just a Charlie horse because he came up off the turf and immediately started to limp, but they immediately bring in their sophomore quarterback. We'll have to watch this develop as Hulke, maybe just a cramp, but hopefully not worse.
So here is Jeff Zimmerman to walk him up to the line. The sophomore back up for the Raiders on 3rd and 2. He hands off. It is Wagner pulling his way for a first down. Tyler Fisher on the stop. And Hulke trying to walk it off on the sideline. It looks like after one play, he's going to tough it out and go right back in there.
It looked to be a cramp play as he got up off the turf. It wasn't where he's grabbing any certain portion of his leg. He just was trying to stretch out his legs. It looked like his leg wouldn't go fully extended. They were able to massage that out and get him right back in there.
Wagner now with 3 carries for 35 yards. He picks up a big first down for Nicollet there. The Raiders lead at 14-8 and looking for more. The handoff on the inside to Norrie. Norrie, no room to run. He is dropped for a loss. Eric Bramer there for Verndale.
When Eric Bramer back after an injury, they've obviously retaped that ankle. Here you can see the play that they've faked 2 times this half. Now they give the ball to Norrie as he comes across there, but Bramer does a good job of getting off his block. Verndale is very happy to have him back, having the most sacks in the team and just doing a great job, both offensively and defensively.
There's a look at Bramer. He's been in on a lot of stops so far this morning. 2 receivers set. Norrie with Hulke in the backfield. They fake that play. This time Hulke keeps, but not much more room to run this time as well. To the 20 and drop there. It'll bring up 3rd down and very long, about 15 to go. Josh Richter on the hit. Let's go back down to Ryan Lund.
All right, there you see Eric Bramer, big number 73 on the sideline, just getting a quick breather. He injured his ankle late second quarter. They iced it down, retaped it. I talked to Bramer as he was still limping around. I asked him if he would be back. He looked me in the eye and said with determination, I will be back. And he was, and I think Verndale very happy to have him as he got the tackle for a loss on that previous play. Clay?
3rd down and 13. Hulke here in the 3rd quarter, 3 for 3 passing, 46 yards, but this time incomplete, batted down by Kyle Ashman. It was almost picked off by Ashman.
No, exactly. He gets his mid out there, does Fink to stop that. It was a great, instead of floating the ball at time, Hulke threw it on a rope, but Fink was able to get his hand right out there. You'll watch it here. In the middle linebacker position, watching the quarterback. He's right on your screen there. He sees the crossing pattern, does a great job of keeping his head on a swivel. You hear that a lot where you want the linebacker to look left and right. He saw the player coming across and put his man out to stop it.
Matthias Hellblum on to kick. It's from 37 yards out. He's hit one from 42 this year. It is up, and it is no good. It is wide to the right, so Nicollet unable to score here, but the Raiders do lead 14-8 here in the 3rd quarter.
Minnesota State Lottery brings you Motor Spectacular, presented by Ford Trucks, part of the Subway Motorsport Series. December 7th, the best U.S. hot rod monster draw return with Gunslinger, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Blue Thunder, the legendary Grave Digger, 3-time world champion Tom Metz, and many more. Plus Demolition Derby and Super Value seats are still just $10. Motor Spectacular, December 7th, the Metrodome.
So Ferndale with a good defensive stand. And the Pirates will get the ball back here, trailing 14-8, 6:29 to go here in the third quarter. There is Umlin. Corey became quarterback by accident, you might say, last year when both quarterbacks were hurt, and he's done a fine job for Mike Malin's squad. On first down, Verndale running, and it is Fink. The stop made by Newman.
Well, there's that offensive surge that Coach Malin wanted out of the break. He felt that he didn't get good offensive line surge or good offensive cohesiveness in that first half. It appears in that run they did. Fink right up the middle, just a great job up front. Fink gets a good 6-yard gain.
So here we go, second down and 5. The run by Ashman. It looks like he's got enough for a first down. Indeed he does. And Verndale moving the ball well here. A couple of runs back-to-back. Under 6 minutes now to go in the third quarter.
But as the game moves on, Clay, you're going to see the teams go back to the things that brought them here. The first half, we saw some gadget plays. You saw some screen passes and things from Verndale. You saw some halfback passes, guard eligible from Nicollet. But as you get tighter and tighter as the game rolls along, we're going to see more of, we're going to call Ashman and Fink's name more and more in the second half.
Corey Umlin under center. Hands off for Ashman, as you just mentioned. On the right side, not a lot of running room. That is the 6th carry of the day for Ashman. Jeff Newman again on the tackle. It seems like we're also calling the same guys defensively on stops and pass breakups.
No, we are, Clay, and Newman's a good one up front. This year, Coach Murphy talked about how he came in the spring to talk about how he could get this team to gel and get to this prep bowl, and they instigated a once-a-week movie night, did Newman. He led the charge, and they continued that on through the summer to get more cohesiveness on the Nicollet team.
Here's Umlin rolling to his left. Cox is on, fires. Again, his pass is long, this time intended for Wyatt Carr. Let's take a look at the Nissan replay.
Lumman gets out to his left. And I think he'd like to have this back. A case of momentum. Watches his good form. He's going forward, shoulders square, but just can't get that touch in the ball, just outstretched.
It's never easy to throw on the run.
No, it's never easy to throw on the run. And you got a guy right in your face there. He's trying to drop it over, going forward. It's a tough pass, and even with Wyatt Carr, the problem with that is Wyatt Carr was wide open. Everyone in the field could see he was wide open, and it's a big break for Nicollet, and Verndale wasn't able to capitalize on that missed assignment by Nicollet.
Carr's dad also played for Malin here at Verndale. Malin jokes, he says, yeah, I'm an old guy, all right. A lot of these guys' parents played for me. It is intercepted. Umlin's pass picked off at the 47-yard line. The interception made by Norrie, his second of the game. Nicollet will have the football when we come back. The Raiders lead it 14-8 in Prep Bowl 21. That guy vowing he will not shave until the Nicollet Raiders win a state championship. And the chances getting much better, especially after that Paul Norrie interception. His second interception of the ballgame. They've both been big.
Big and well timed. Those are extremely hard plays to make. He timed those perfectly, not get the interference call to go after the ball.
Hulke, quick pass on first down. It's Wagner. He's got room to run. He's to the 40. Inside the 35 and run out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Casey Fink on the stop. Wagner has pushed Nicollet deep into Verndale territory.
That's just a quick pass out here. It's actually a lateral. You have to be careful with this pass with Wagner. Now watch Bratch right there. What a great block to spring Wagner to the outside. When you're an offensive receiver, you have to go out there and stock block. He just turned Umlin inside to allow Wagner to read that and go outside for the big game.
Hulke gives to Wagner. On first down, back to the 30-yard line, a pickup of about 1. It'll bring up second down.
And that play that they just ran to Wagner is another setup play, Clay, where they'll watch for a double pass later in the game. That's a lateral that they talked about maybe using later in the game when they needed it, and they're setting it up now to do that. That time Newman came out in a trap block, wasn't able to spring Wagner for a short gain. First time we've seen Newman pull in this game, at least as far as I've seen.
Two receivers set for Hulke. Man in motion is Norrie. Hulke looking to throw. He's got Wagner again. Bobbles it, catches it, comes back the other way. And he's going to run into traffic. Verndale stopping him at the 30-yard line, a loss of about 1 after Corey Umlin brings him to the Metrodome turf. Hulke now 10 for 21. He's been picked off once. And for roughly 125 yards.
Well, we saw this play in the first half where they threw it out to Wagner, and he was coming into the defenders for Verndale again. Verndale did the exact same thing defensively. They stayed along the line of scrimmage. As Wagner reversed his field, he had Hulke, and you seemed to have a wall there, but because Verndale stayed home and stayed in their positions on the line of scrimmage, they were able to stop him for basically no gain.
Again, a 3-receiver set for Nicollet. On 3rd down, Hulke to throw. Has a receiver, it is caught, and close to a 1st down, it is Norrie.
Well, it's a tough spot. You can see it's just about a yard short. Norrie was trying to get to the 1st down marker. They had 3 receivers to that side, Clay, and Verndale was not matched up with them, and Norrie was the inside receiver and did an out pattern. And the great touch pass by Hulke again, just on the outside, so the Verndale defender cannot get the ball. But it's just a tough spot. He wasn't able to get the ball to bring up a 4th and short here for Nicollet.
4th down and 1. Nicollet 2 for 2 on 4th down conversions. Can they do it again? The pitch to Wagner. He is hit, but enough momentum carries him across the 20, and it looks like enough for a 1st down. Ashman on the tackle.
Well, it's very close, and as they give him, Verndale was right there at the line of scrimmage waiting for Wagner. Interesting call. You pull the ball away from the line of scrimmage with this deep pitch. It allows a back like Wagner to see the field, and he was able just to get enough for the 1st down.
Wagner now 14 carries for 39 yards. That was a big 1st down for the Nicollet Raiders. They send 3 receivers. It is Wagner, Bratch, and Norrie to the left. Hulke in the shotgun. Makes the quick throw. Now in trouble. He is going to be spun down at the 26-yard line. A loss of about 6 yards. And every time you see one of these teams start to get some offensive momentum, the defense steps up. There, another great play. Eric Bramer on the stop there.
You're right, Clay, and it goes to these teams are both great teams. You have things that have worked all year for you as an offense on both sides, and then they're not working now because the defense has stepped it up that much for the opposing team. That time they brought Fisher on a delayed blitz with three wide receivers out. They didn't have enough players to block. Did Nicollet, and they were able to get into Hulke for the sack.
Here's Hulke. He keeps. Nowhere to go. Pulled down at the 25. Tyler Fisher brings him down.
And Verndale defensively, Clay, all game has pushed Nicollet into situations like this. 2nd and long, 3rd and long. Nicollet will have a play that goes back, and then it's just a little touch pass by Nicollet or something that springs them, an individual effort, a breakdown. Verndale's done a great job of keeping them in check. It's just some individual plays by Nicollet has been able to get them out of 3rd and 4th down situations so far this game.
Hulke gets 1 yard on that carry, so it's 3rd and 15. To throw, rolling left, under pressure. Escapes the defenders, throws to the end zone. It is caught and dropped. Bratch had it, couldn't hang on, and Nicollet will have 4th down.
Well, it'll be an interesting decision here for Coach Tom Murphy, but that time, as Hulke rolled to his left, you can see Fuller will come all the way. You'll see him come in the picture right now. He comes from his cornerback position all the way across. Him and Wyatt Carr are not able to reach Hulke, and Bratch would like to have that one back. Hulke heaves it down the field. No one's around him.
Oh.
And just not able to hang on.
In his defense, that would have been a great play.
Right.
4th down at 15. The quick pass to Wagner. He's going to throw. It is batted. It is caught. And at the 32-yard line, the reception made by Brandon Rudenick, but Nicollet is going to turn it over on downs. Great defense by Verndale. They'll have it when we come back. 14-8 Raiders in Prep Bowl 21, 9-man championship game. At the top of the show, Steve, we talked about how this 9-man game could be very offensive, but so far defense has been the story.
And another example here, you have Isaac Johnson coming in Nicollet has tried to set this play up, a couple passes out to Wagner. They were going to throw the double pass on a big 4th down play. Verndale again, the defense comes up huge to stop that drive by Nicollet.
So Verndale takes over. First down and 10 at the 32. Carrying on first down, it is Fink, and he shakes loose to the 40, to the 30-yard line of Nicollet, and run down at the 26. A huge run before J.J. Horning and Mike Rosine combine on the tackle. And Verndale is in business here with 50 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter, trailing 14-8.
And as you can see in the replay, we talked about as the game goes on and gets tighter and gets more towards the end of the game, we're going to hear these guys' names a lot more. Fink and Ashman, that time just a great job up front. Coach Malin wanted them to block better up front second half. They certainly did on that play, letting Fink scamper for a huge gain for Verndale. Big momentum swing here in the 3rd quarter.
The 9th carry of the game for Fink. That one 42 yards. He now has 59 yards on the ground. Umlin gives it to Ashman this time. He follows Fink's block. Not a lot of room to run along the right side. Over the 25-yard line to about the 24 before Jeff Newman brings him to the turf.
We've seen this play before as the 3rd quarter winds down, but it's just going to be a great finish, I think, Clay. Both teams are starting to gel. The defenses are clicking like we talked about. It should be a wild finish.
And that's going to do it here for the 3rd quarter. As it was at halftime, Nicollet leads 14-8 over Verndale, but the Pirates are moving. A look at our Dish Network scoreboard as we go to break. We played 3 in Prep Bowl 21, the 9-man title game. There's a look at the Nicollet faithful, hoping their Raiders can hold on here. They're leading 14-8 as we begin the 4th quarter. Nicollet on a quest for its first ever state championship, but Verndale is marching. It is 2nd down and 8. It is Ashman, bumped out of bounds. Wagner in on the stop. Wagner now with 10 tackles. He also has a sack today. He has been the defensive standout for the Raiders. Short pickup. It'll bring up 3rd and 7.
Well, student body right there for Verndale. He had lead blockers Richter and Fink in front of him. Nicollet did a good job again stringing that to the sideline and using the sideline as an extra man. Doesn't give Ashman any place to run.
Ashman now with 100 yards even on the day after that 2-yard pickup. The Pirates call a timeout, so we're going to take a break. Nicollet leading 14-8. We're just underway in the 4th quarter. More from Prep Bowl 21 after this on Fox 9. Here's our Minneapolis Plumbing and Heating game summary. Verndale has been running the ball better. Nicollet has passed the ball better. We've got a very tight ball game. Nicollet leading 14-8, just underway here in the 4th quarter. It is 3rd down for Verndale. 3-back set. Umlin rolling to his right. He's going to keep it. Across the 20, 15, 10, inside the 10-yard line, and bumped out of bounds at about the 8. J.J. Horning knocking him out and saving a touchdown.
Saving a touchdown, and Umlin going to his right side using, as you talked about earlier, Clay, he became a quarterback by accident, moving from running back to quarterback, dangerously holding the ball out like a sack of potatoes out there. Watch as he rolls to his right. This is the short side of the field, too. So a more difficult play for Verndale, but they're able to sneak around the outside. Big, long strides by Umlin. And you're right, Horning saves the touchdown.
That was a big 3rd down conversion for Verndale. The Pirates 3 for 9 on 3rd down conversions. Umland under center, eye backfield. Hand off to the first man through. It is Fink. And he is inside the 5-yard line. The Pirates threatening here to score and take the lead.
Nothing fancy there again. The up front line in the second half, Coach Malin wanted them to perform, and they have. Fink again straight ahead. He's just a bruising type back. Imagine if you're starting right guard on most high school teams as a running back with great speed and great finesse, as Fink has for Verndale.
2nd down and goal for the Pirates. The 9-8 champion last year, Hillcrest Lutheran Academy out of Fergus Falls. One of these two teams, either Nicollet or Verndale, will be the new 9-man champion And right now, Ferndale has answered. Kyle Ashman with the touchdown run, and it is tied up at 14.
Well, Clay, a similar play that we've seen in this drive in this half, where we have full house backfield, just student body right, and they're going to the short side of the field. Ferndale's doing an excellent job of sealing the sideline. As you watch here, 2 lead blocks in front of you. You have Fink and Richter, 2 guys I'd like to have leading the way.
Yeah.
And then Ashman just turns the corner. You can see that they've really given him a gap on the sideline there. A great job by the offensive front line and those 2 lead blockers to get Ashman sprung to the end zone to tie the game.
Ashman with his 25th touchdown of the season. And we are tied up at 14. Will they kick or will they go for 2? Looks like they are going to go for 2. We've got a penalty on the field. It's against the Pirates. That might change their decision a little bit.
The delay of game penalty. I'm not sure. I saw someone come to the sidelines. I don't know if that was the kicker to get a shoe, or they'll just back it up.
They are going to kick.
Here. Yep.
Here comes Fink. It's Isaac Johnson to hold. And now we have a penalty flag down. Boy, this is the longest extra point attempt I've seen in a long time.
We could sell spots for this. It's long enough. We could.
Now, these guys did roll out early, so you're going to expect some mistakes.
Right.
Penalty flag this time on Nicollet, so that negates the other penalty on Verndale, and it will be an extra point attempt. Forthcoming here for the Pirates. Fink. Straight on kicker. The snap is down. Kick is up and good. And Ferndale takes a 1-point lead. 15-14, 11:03 to play here in the 9-man championship game at Prep Bowl 21. You're watching Prep Bowl 21 coverage on Fox 9. Stay there. Verndale has taken the lead on a 6-play, 68-yard drive that covered 1 minute and 56 seconds. Ashman, the 4-yard touchdown run, culminating that drive. His 21st rushing touchdown of the season. Now Fink to kick off for the Pirates, who have a 1-point lead, 15-14 with 11:03 to play. Oh, and he kicks it right through the end zone.
Think Verndale's a little fired up?
Oh, you can hear it in front of us here, too, from the faithful. So Nicollet will have it here, first down and 10 from their 20. And they're reeling a little bit right now.
Yeah, Nicollet has to come back and settle down a little bit. Verndale definitely has momentum now. And in the second half, Nicollet has done some things, tried some gadget plays, but they need to get back to some basic things, I think, to get some momentum on this drive. What they don't want to have happen is to be 3-and-out in this drive and give the ball back to a ball control offense like Verndale when they just keep it on the ground and pound you, pound you, pound you.
Hulke walks him up. 2-back set. Receiver to the left. He rolls to the left. Fires downfield. He has Bratch, and it's just out of his reach. Incomplete at the 44-yard line of Verndale. Isaac Johnson in on the coverage. Let's go down to Ryan Lund once again.
It's a story straight out of Hollywood. It would make a great Adam Sandler movie. The former water boy scores the go-ahead touchdown in the state championship game. It's a true story. Kyle Ashman, number 24, you're looking at him right there, was the water boy on the 97 Verndale team. The last time Verndale won, or the only time Verndale won a state championship in 9-man. Ashman on the sidelines for that one, but he's in this game and making his mark with much more than just some cups of water. Guys?
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. Jamie Wagner on the carry there. Stopped just short of the 30-yard line by Fisher. It's close to a first down. In fact, he may have picked it up.
Well, Nicollet came out just as we talked about getting back to the basics. They went for the home run right off the back, trying to get Verndale maybe guessing or blitzing, trying to do some things to keep the momentum on their side. And then they come right back with tried and true Wagner. He picks up and does get the first down. But those are the kind of things I think Nicollet needs to do to get back into this and drive down for hopefully a score to put them ahead.
So first down and 10. Hulke. to Wagner. Trying to dance through, but no room to run. A host of Verndale tacklers there, led by Jason Kneisel and Fisher again. Let's take another look at that run by Wagner. Great defense by Verndale. It's our Nissan replay.
You can see how they swarm to the ball. They stay right at the line of scrimmage and square up their shoulders. Great technique by Verndale. Coach Malin for Verndale was very worried about the run-pass combo of Nicollet. Best they'd seen so far, and Verndale's defense has done a super job so far.
Again, in the flat, finds Wagner. And he's got enough for a first down. Holke now, 11 completions on 24 attempts. Casey Fink, the tackle, also Kneisel there.
And those are the kind of things that are driving Verndale nuts. They've been able to stop Nicollet, push them back, get them for losses, put them into some second and long situations, third and fourth down situations. But it's plays like we just saw. They throw a different kind of pass out to Wagner, a little flare pass like they always have. And he's able to break a few tackles to get just enough for a first down.
And it's Wagner. At midfield, he lost it, and I think Verndale recovered. Oh, a big mistake there by Nicollet, and the Pirates capitalized by recovering the fumble at midfield. Casey Fink came up with it.
And a great heads-up play. When we're talking about the defense here playing better, we talked about how they've really stopped these offenses. One of the reasons is watch how many green shirts are around the ball here. Wagner is breaking away into the secondary. He's at the linebacker extended. You have 4 players in the screen there. That's great pursuit, and that's great coaching by Verndale. You do this all the time from August up until now. We'll see who gets an arm in there. It looks like Ashman
did. And Fink there to recover.
And again, you have 4 players right in the screen. That's just something that it's a drill that everyone hates on the defense if you're a high school player, because the coaches don't blow the whistle until everyone gets there, and it proves to help them here in this Prep Bowl championship.
Likely to see a ball control game by Verndale from here on out.
Yes.
9:43 to go. Receiver left. 2-back set. Ashman and Fink. Hand off to Fink. Straight ahead. And we'll probably see a lot of that now from the Pirates. Keeping the ball on the ground. It'll bring up 2nd down and 7.
Well, a lot of ball control, Clay, and they'll do a lot of Jim Brown by getting up very slowly and walking back very slowly to the huddle to eat up some time before the referees can set the ball. It will be they'll try to control this clock as much as they can because they don't want to give the ball back to the explosive Nicollet offense. Verndale, this second half, is really taking control up front.
Umlin gives to Ashman. Cuts it back to the right across the 45-yard line to the 44. It'll bring up 3rd and 4. In on the stop, Wagner.
Again, good tough run by Ashman there, and no need for Nicollet here to panic. They have plenty of time, 8 minutes left. They just have to play their base D and just make sure that the sticks don't keep moving. They gotta get a stop without having to risk a blitz or some sort of a corner blitz where Verndale breaks one tackle and is able to spring in the secondary.
3-back set. 2 tight ends. Umlin keeps on the option. Short of the 40-yard line, also short of the first down, so Nicollet does stand defensively.
And did in a base defense. Again, they just strung that out to the sideline. Good call by Verndale because it gives the option for Umlin to run the ball or pitch it out to his back. That time he chose to keep it because no one was attacking him. As a quarterback, you wait for a defender to come up in your face to pitch the ball. If no one comes into your face, you're taught to just turn up the field, which Umlin did there very correctly, and now brings up an interesting call here. I don't know.
Yeah, is this 2-down territory? 4-down territory, I should say.
You got a good punter in Fink. I think you might try to pin Nicollet back, but they're very confident in their offensive line, so I think they're just going with the play has happened the second half.
First 4th down conversion attempt for the Pirates. And it looks like they might have enough. It's going to be very close. Ashman on that carry. And he may have it. James Burnell among the players on the stop, and they're going to have a measurement here. Look at Tom Murphy's just dying.
Coach Murphy's face, but that time Paul Norrie came through from the backside, as he thinks it's a little short, this Coach Murphy. He almost had Ashman in the backfield.
It's enough for a first down, but it can't be by much. Huge first down by the Pirates. They will be able to burn more clock. And right now the clock is their friend.
And a play that they called there, I'd call that play 100 times in fourth down. You get two backs like Richter and Fink blocking for Ashman. Almost had Nicollet coming through with a great individual effort by Paul Norrie, but they just got it by a fraction of an inch. Turning the tables on what Nicollet's been doing to them most of the game, getting those first downs by just inches.
Receiver right. Fink, Ashman in the backfield. First man through is Fink. Across the 35. And ankle tackle down at the 34-yard line. The clock continues to tick away as the Pirates are getting closer to their first state championship in nine-man football since 1997. Allerson and Wagner in on the stop. There is the running back comparison. Ashman and Fink, a couple of guys we knew we were going to see a lot of today. And
exactly.
we have.
And we have. They had 272 yards on the ground in the semis against Climax Fisher and average over 300, and they're trying to get to that level today.
Fink again. He lost it. And it looks like Holke may have recovered for the Raiders. No, he did not. Loveless in there. That was awfully close.
Like Clay, I thought that Holke had this ball too. We'll watch here as Fink comes through the line. We'll see who gets a mitten there to pull it out. Looks like just a great hits the ball with his hand.
Oh, Holke had his hands on it, but Loveless just pulled it away.
Looked like Mike Rosine was the one that put a mitt on it. Knocked it straight down to the turf. You can see his hand coming right there. Great camera angle, and Holke did have it, but Loveless was able to steal that away underneath.
So Fink, keep in mind that wrist injury. That came into play there. Ashman running left side. And on first down, picks up about 4 yards on the play.
Well, as this game wears on, Clay, bring up a good point, because that wrist injury, it's going to be a little, you're going to have a little more wetness on there. The ball will sneak out just as Rosine came in and knocked the ball straight down, probably because of that. But now what's bad for Nicollet is the clock continues to keep rolling. Verndale has controlled the second half on the offensive line, doing a great job up front, just as they wanted to coming out of the break.
Verndale. Second down and 6. And up. It is Fink breaking tackles to the 10-5 touchdown, and Verndale may just have put an exclamation point on a state championship.
I think you're right, Clay. That time an arm tackle by Holke in the secondary isn't going to bring it down a guy like Fink. He was going after the ball, but that time they move Ashman out of the backfield and free up the middle, because someone has to watch Ashman as he motions out. And you'll watch it right up the gut here. Again, they seal down and kick out, and Fink does the rest. You watch here, Holke coming in at the end, just trying an arm tackle, but Fink is right in there.
Someone tried to poke it away at the last moment, and it's ironic. Fink, who almost cost Verndale a touchdown there, actually scores the one that may have put this one away. Touchdown drive, 8 plays, 50 yards. Covers a lot of time, 4 minutes and 28 seconds, and Verndale now leads 21-14 with 5:15 to play. Back with more on Fox 9 after this. Verndale has elected to go for 2. What do you think of that move?
Well, they must have more confidence in this. You'd think the easier play would be the kick. It doesn't matter if they get the 2 or not, but they have some confidence in this 2-point conversion.
Umlin throws. The pass looked to be incomplete. Yes, it was incomplete. So Nicollet is still very much alive, trailing by 7 with plenty of time on the clock. 5:11 to go.
No, very much a lot of time left for this offense of Nicollet. So it's a big break for Nicollet. Keeping it within a 7-point game. That time probably trying to get 2 just so they put this out of reach and they can't go for 2 for the win if you're Nicollet when it comes back. But a gutsy call. It looked like the ball actually hit the turf when he threw it back, but that's probably a play they had in the playbook for just this occasion. It just didn't work out for Verndale at this time.
There you look at the Pirates scoring drive, capped by Fink's 26-yard touchdown run. He now has 103 yards on the day. And he has given Verndale the lead here late in the fourth quarter. This is the first championship game of the day here at the Metrodome. Prep Bowl 21 on Fox 9. Coming up next, Mountain Lake, Butterfield, Odin, and Rushford, Peterson. But we still have a very important 5 minutes and change to go. This one still very much in the balance.
And a game that lives up to every part of its billing, even on the defensive side of the game. Not as much points put on the board, but we've had a lot of offense.
Fink kicks to Norrie. He takes it at his own 10 to the 15, 20, 25, 30, and he's upended there at the 32-yard line. A big tackle by Fink. So now let's see what Nicollet is made of.
Well, and when you start out in August, every every team wants to get to this point. You want to have the ball in the fourth quarter in a championship game of your class. It's seemingly enough time on the clock, 5-10, to do whatever you want to do. We'll see how Nicollet comes out if they stay with their base offense and not go to the gadget plays, and how Verndale responds, who has really shut them down here in the second half.
Tony Hulke, hands on. It is Wagner holding on tightly to that football. The Raiders cannot afford a turnover now. Across the 35 to the 36-yard line before Ashman brings him down. Also Fink in on the stop. So it'll be 2nd down and 5.
When you had trap play there by Nicollet, they bring Newman down the line. Wagner reads that block superbly to the left-hand side. Gets through into the secondary. Fink brings him down and was grabbing his right hand that he had hurt at the end of that play.
Bratch in motion, now comes set to the right side. Oh, is Hulke. The left-hander throws deep downfield. He has Bratch, and it's just out of his reach. Went up with the right hand, couldn't bring it back into his body. Umland in on the coverage.
And we've seen that play all day. The Nicollet receivers have been behind the secondary of Verndale, but Tony Hulke has just been throwing it over their hands. That time, Bratch putting a finger up there. We'll see it here. Good arm by Hulke, and Bratch not able to bring in the shoestring grab, but just able to get one hand up there, adjusting for the ball.
Michael Malin hoping his Pirates can hold on and bring him a second state championship. Wagner across the 40 to the 47 and close to a first down. It's going to be just short.
Again, that same play that they started the drive with.
So now it's 4th down. 4th and short. 4th and 1, we'll call it. And this is the most important down of the day for Nicollet.
In the definite situation where you're not going to set up to even try to fake it. You may do a long count here, Kyle, or play just to try to get things, get them to jump off so I get the easy first down. But we should see something here to Wagner.
Hulke, option. Gives to Wagner, and he does have enough for a first down. Big play there for the Raiders. 1st and 10 now from the 47-yard line on the stop, Tyler Fisher.
Well, Clay, a big play there. They went back to a play they ran in the first half on 3rd down, where they faked the dive right into the line of scrimmage and get Wagner to the outside. Hulke does a good job as he comes out here. He has to read the end. He makes the Verndale defender come at him to give enough room for Wagner to get up for that first down.
Wagner now 21 carries, 82 yards. Pump fake. Now dropping it off underneath to Norrie. Hulke's pass is complete, but he is stopped short of the line of scrimmage. A loss of a yard or two. And it brings up 2nd down. Kneisel on the stop.
As you see the play call coming in there for Murphy, they tried the middle screen there with Norrie coming in the middle, but Kneisel, as you mentioned, he's been around the ball all year. Had a great semifinal game. Is very on the spot there to stop that play for basically a 1-yard loss.
Tony Hulke, a computer whiz, according to his coach and teammates. Let's see if he can compute a touchdown drive that will tie this one up. Under 3 minutes to play in the 9-man championship game. There's Tom Murphy, Nicollet head coach, in his 12th year with the team. Been to this game once before, but has never won it. In motion. They do the reverse. It's Wagner. Now he's looking to throw. Thrown underneath and caught by Holke. At the 37-yard line, Holke makes the catch. Umlin makes the tackle. And Holke is holding his hand. He might be hurt.
He might have jammed a finger. He went to take that ball away from the Verndale defender. Coach Murphy talked about opening up the playbook. Everything will be used today, saying he learned in '99 not to leave anything in the playbook. Here you can see Wagner getting in the double reverse. He stops. Looks like he gets hit. And Holke had to go get that ball from the Verndale defender.
Here's Wagner again on first down. Picks up maybe a yard before Isaac Johnson spins him down. 2nd down and 9. Clock continues to run. 2 minutes, 15 seconds to play here at the Metrodome.
So again, just like we've seen the entire game played, Nicollet has been able to capitalize on a long play, a 2nd long, 3rd and long, 4th and short. They've been doing that all day. Verndale had the play covered, and Holke just went and got that play to get them down here.
The Raiders on the march. Holke tucks it and runs. 30. And stopped short of the 25-yard line, brought down at the 26 by Fink and Johnson.
Well, if you're Verndale, Clay, you can't do much more. You had excellent pressure on Holke. Well, watch, it just seems like a swinging gate here for Nicollet as just a bunch of green around Holke. They have it defended perfectly down the field, and Holke just takes off down the field, a lot like Culpepper or Donovan McNabb, to get the first down.
And on first down, it is Wagner, and he has almost enough for another first down. Good run for Jamie Wagner. Wagner, a very smart kid, a grade point average of 3.91. There's an injury on the field. It's a Verndale Pirate down. Clock stops with 1:25 to play.
It looks like it's Ashman on the turf there, so the Verndale sidelines hoping that to see him stand up. As we get late in the game, as we talked about the heat in the dome, this could be a cramp. And you just hope that these players are suffering from a little exhaustion. We see Holke's down, maybe from that catch where it looked like he either jammed a wrist or a thumb. And as these kids get more tired, it's just that there's a little dehydration. You can see some cramps, but it looks like with Ashman's, they're looking at a knee.
One thing that Verndale head coach Mike Malin brought up to me, he said, this is a real tough situation for these 9-man teams. They roll out at about 5:30 in the morning. They don't even get a full breakfast. They're throwing down bagels, bananas, a little bit of juice, whatever they can. They got to be to the Metrodome for an 8 o'clock kickoff. That's tough. It's physically and maybe even emotionally draining on these guys.
Emotionally draining. You're hoping to even grab some Skittles in the vending machine just to get some sugar, but there it looks like the pile rolled over Kyle Ashman, and he goes immediately to grab that knee, so it might have been something where it got pinned in that pile. And on the turf here, the thing you notice when you play in the turf, in the dome and in other places, is that how much you feel the cuts. You feel it not in your ankle, you feel it all the way up into your knee. That's the first thing you notice. I didn't because I can't run with the darn, but everyone else that can even run noticing that in their knee. Probably the case with Kyle Ashman, the foot just got stuck in the turf.
Oh. Nicollet jumped. It was Jake Anderson on that right side, the right guard jumping off sides. Let's go down to Ryan.
All right, guys, thank you. Well, the Verndale sideline, they have a 7-point lead, but I've never heard an area go quiet so quickly as it did when Ashman went down. He's limping to the bench right now, walking a little bit gingerly. They're working on that left knee. Ashman appears to be out for the key part of this game and obviously the key part of the season, guys.
That's right, closing in on a minute to go. Here's Holke. Shuttle pass ahead to Wagner. Close to a first down, stopped short, and it'll bring up 3rd and about 1. Wyatt Carr on the stop. Actually, it'll be 3rd and 2.
As you can see, 52 seconds left in the game. It's an unbelievable game, Clay. It couldn't have been in any better game to start out this day of football here at the Dome. But what happens is you have Nicollet taking a timeout. They have to watch the clock with only 52 seconds left. But here again, Verndale is doing everything right. They have everyone in Holke's face. Watch, it's just a swinging gate. No one's blocking for Nicollet up front. You have Fisher getting in there. He misses. Hulke does a great job of getting away. And he just does a shovel pass out to Wagner. And there you see the secondary of Verndale coming up. So they're covering it well. They're getting into Hulke. But all day, Nicollet has been able to get away and get just what they need at the right time to keep drives alive on 3rd and 4th down in seemingly tough parts of the game as we're heading into now. Tough parts of the season. This is the season right here.
52 seconds to go. Verndale leading 21-14, but Nicollet has it. 3rd down and 2 at the Verndale 18.
If I'm Nicollet, Clay, I think I go back to the plays that they had in the first half. A little stem pass to Rosine, a little intermediate pass, not trying something to force in the end zone, but they've had success in the middle range passing and let those players run.
Handoff inside. It is Norrie. And he is stopped. It is going to be 4th down. A great defensive play by that defensive line. Richter on the stop. And we've got a whistle and a timeout called by Nicollet with 44 seconds to go. No doubt they have to go for it here on 4th down.
No doubt at all. They need the touchdown. No need to save those timeouts for the field goal because it's not needed. But Nicollet, where they've had success, they ran the 3 receivers to one side and thrown this flare pass out to Wagner to get him in there. On 4th down in the pass, they've done a fake dive option. They've also done a sweep. I think in this case, you might want the fake dive option because it gets Wagner out, and with only 45 seconds left of one timeout, it gets him near the sideline so he can either break it, cut back for a score, or get out of bounds to stop the clock. But Verndale, if I'm Verndale on defense, I'm frustrated just because they've done everything right. They've been getting pressure on Hulke all day. They've neutralized the pass-run combo as Coach Malin has wanted to. As he said coming in this game, it's the best they'd seen. And yet Nicollet time and time again is able to just sneak out of there with great individual efforts because we have 2 great teams going at each other.
44 seconds to go on the White Bear Superstore clock. 4th down, biggest play of the game. Hulke gets it away. He has a receiver. It is caught and run out of bounds is Wagner. He has enough for a Raiders 1st down. Johnson pulling him out of bounds.
Well, true to the script, Clay, you see here, it's exactly nothing like they've run. They tried the bootleg. There's Verndale defenders everywhere, and yet they find Wagner, and he's able to get out of bounds to preserve a timeout and move the chain.
That was the 12th play of the drive by Nicollet. Nicollet now 5 for 6 on 4th down conversions. They have been clutch in that situation. Hulke brings him up. 2-back set. Play action, looking to throw. Hulke under pressure now, flushed out, avoids the sack, and throws it incomplete out of bounds. That was probably the best play for Hulke in that situation. Just get rid of it, avoid the sack.
Exactly, avoid the sack. A lot of times when you have a great athletic quarterback like that, they'll try to do too much, and they hold on to the ball too long. That would have been devastating for Nicollet to be pinned back 15 more yards in the sack. He correctly got the ball out of bounds, just gets it to 2nd down, live for another day.
And, of course, the clock stops with 30 seconds to play. Also important is the Raiders trying to manage that clock. There you saw the red zone information. Hulke now passing 13 for 28. He's been picked once, 143 yards and a touch from the shotgun. 2 defenders coming strong, and he throws it incomplete. No one even around, and that was an ill-advised pass, I would say.
A dangerous pass, a dangerous call as you bring the ball. What you're doing there is you're doing a middle screen and you're throwing the ball where all the Verndale defenders are. As we saw, a tip, anything, Verndale grabs that ball, the game's over. You had 3 receivers to the right, get it out to Wagner. He got the sidelines for you there, and he also got him to break 1 tackle as he had to get in for a score.
3rd down and 10 at the 11. 26 seconds to play. Looking to throw. Has Wagner. He's got it inside the 5 and run out of bounds at the 4, and the clock stops. Corey Umland steering him out. And that brings up 4th down.
Well, and it's just what we talked about. You get the ball outside. Watch Tony Bratch with a great block again. Right there, seals to the inside, and Wagner's able to get to the outside to either try to score like he did or get out of bounds and preserve a timeout, which it looks like Nicollet has just taken their final timeout, but it gives you more options. You end up taking everyone else off the field and focusing in on your best players, getting them one-on-one.
There's Ryan Hulke talking to his brother Tony. Third and final timeout for the Nicollet Raiders. 22 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Here in the 9-man championship game, the first of 6 state high school championship games here at the Metrodome today. Anthony LaPanta and Dave Nelson will have the call for you on the next game. That's the Class A championship between Mountain Lake, Butterfield Odin, and Rushford Peterson. There's Ryan.
Well, there's no, at the risk of overselling this, he got 4th down in the first game of the day for the season right here.
16th play of the drive. Nicollet, as we mentioned, 5 for 6 on 4th down conversions. Can the Raiders do it again? Hulke throws to the end zone. Incomplete. Verndale has held Isaac Johnson with a nice play there. And the Pirates may have just clinched a state championship.
Well, Nicollet had a good call there because Verndale's bringing everything but the kitchen sink. They brought everyone up the middle again to try to put pressure on Hulke. It looked as though they were trying to do a delayed quarterback draw up the middle. At the last minute, you had Wagner slanting from the outside, and Hulke wanted to hit him and just overthrew him a bit. You can see here Hulke looks as though he's going to try to cut up to run, stops, and just the ball sails over Wagner's head.
That was Umland on the coverage, and now Umland has it under center, and he's going to wisely kneel down as the clock begins to run. And it looks like Verndale is going to win the 9-man state championship for 2002, their first since 1997. The final seconds click off, and that does it. Ferndale is your 9-man champion for 2002 in the state of Minnesota.
Well, what a game, Clay. It's exactly what we built, a lot of offense, and we did get that, but we got defense as well. Just an excellent game by 2 great teams here in Class 9-man to lead off the day. Verndale, I think, feels vindicated having such a great defensive performance the entire game. Nicollet with great individual efforts to keep the drives alive, to keep the things going. But Verndale, in the end, was able to prevail.
Verndale, runners-up in 1987, 1994, and in 1996. They finally broke through with a championship in 1997, and they have done it again here in 2002. Congratulations to head coach Michael Malin. In his 34th year as head coach of the Pirates, they're bringing the hardware home to Verndale once again.
That's right, and both teams should keep their heads high here. It takes so much for these teams to get here. I know it's sad for Nicollet right now, but as they look back on this 10 years from now, there'll be nothing but great memories, a great experience for both sides, and congratulations again to Verndale. A great game.
Nicollet, the runners-up once again for the second time in 1999. They fell just a little bit short as well. The Midwest Dairy Association Offensive Player of the Game, Casey Fink of Verndale. 14 carries, over 100 yards, and a big touchdown.
No, and he was exactly what they needed today. We talked about time and time again, teams will go back to their horses that got in there, and Fink was that for them today.
The Defensive Player of the Game, Jamie Wagner of Nicollet. 14 tackles, 1 sack. It seemed like on every play he was in there hitting.
On every play he was hitting, and Coach Malin wanted their offensive line to do a better job in the second half of getting to players like Wagner, because in the first half he was getting to their running backs to stop it. He adds to an already impressive tackle total for the year, 182 plus these 14 today. Great career for Wagner.
Oh yeah, he's lettered in 5 sports at Nicollet, and on to college now. He's thinking about UC Davis, a Division II school. He doesn't know whether he'll play football or not, but he's leaning that way. He's done a great job here today. Unfortunately for the Nicollet Raiders, they fall short. Congratulations to the Pirates of Verndale, champions once again. Coming up next, Mountain Lake, Butterfield, Odin, and Rushford Peterson in the Class A championship game. There is the hardware being awarded to Michael Malin's Ferndale Pirates. The winners of the Pheasant Conference, the winners of Section 4, and the winners here at the Metrodome today in the 9-man championship game. Beat Cromwell in the 97 game, 18-12, and they win here today over Nicollet.
I think they did a great job in the second half. They were frustrated in the first half the way they played and didn't finish off plays, as Coach Malin talked about. On the second half, they completely dominated. Nicollet has a great defense covering all the offensive linemen for Verndale, and yet they were still able to get Ashman and Fink through to the secondary, what they've done all year to get the championship.
So one game is under our belt here on Fox 9. The first of 6 championship games to be played in Prep Bowl 21 at the Metrodome. The final score, Verndale 21, Nicollet 14. Let's go down to Ryan Lund, who's with a very happy Michael Malin.
All right, thank you, guys. Well, Coach, I don't know if you can win a game and a championship in much more dramatic fashion. An excellent second half. What did you change coming out of the locker room?
Well, we went into halftime saying we weren't playing very good, but we're only down, by 1 touchdown, and we just had to do a better job at the offensive line. We didn't do a real good job up front. In the second half, the kids up front did a super job, and Casey and Kyle ran the ball hard, and we just had to get back to our basics, get back to running the ball. We sort of got away from our game plan the first half, and we just need to get back to the basics and run the ball like we've done all year.
It seemed as if the tandem of Kyle and Casey running all game long kind of wore Nicollet down a little bit there in the second half.
Well, that's what it's done for us all year, and that's what it's my fault, getting away from the game plan in the first half. We need to run them more in the first half, too, but that's the way it's been all year, and these kids have come back a couple times this year now. I just can't say enough about the team and about the seniors especially.
A number of timeouts, a number of huddles on that final drive for Nicollet. What were you telling your guys in every 4th down situation with the seconds ticking off the clock trying to hold?
Well, it was tough for us, too, because Kyle was out. Our safety was out of there. And they'd run the option earlier against us, and we thought they were going to run the option. We were trying to avoid that. They didn't, and we had him trapped 3 or 4 times, and we just couldn't get him down. He dumped it off, and he did an excellent job. Their quarterback is a super athlete, too, and he made some great plays down here at the end, and we made some great plays.
Well, you certainly did, and congratulations on the second state championship for Verndale, Coach.
Thank you very much.
All right, Verndale, 21-14. They win the 9-man state championship. We will be back at Metrodome with much more from Prep Bowl 21. Verndale 21, Nicollet 14. The Pirates, state champs in our first game here at Prep Bowl 21. The Pirates filing past us here are the first state champions of our day of 6 games. Ryan Lund, Tom Linneman. Not a better way we could start this day. Unbelievable game.
What a great game. The adjustments by Verndale at halftime to shut out in the second half. That was an unbelievable effort.
Well, in a game that had so many big plays and such a tight game, we had to go with one from Nicollet. Such a close game, but our Pontiac play of the game, first quarter, down 8-0. Nicollet gets right back on the board, and you can't say enough about this guy on the return.
No, Tony Hulke has done it all year for these Nicollet Raiders. Played outstanding, and here he brings it all the way back 87 yards for a touchdown. This put Nicollet in control at that point.
Yeah, put Nicollet on the board, the first score of the game. They went on to take a 14-6 lead at the half. However, second half, all Verndale, they shut down the Nicollet offense, shut down Tony Hulke, held him on that last drive. Just an amazing way to finish a game.
Yeah, it really was. And Casey Fink went off in the second half offensively for him. Ferndale deserves this championship.
Yeah, excellent game, and we hope to have much more. In fact, we know we will have many more games just like this one when we come back to Metrodome Prep Bowl 21. Let's get ready for the Class A championship game. Verndale 21, the Pirates capture the Class 9-man state championship game, the second state championship for Verndale. They also won in 1997. Nicollet still not able to win that big game. However, you can't sell the Raiders short. Just an amazing game. Can't say enough about it. One thing that really stood out was the Verndale defense in the second half.
Yeah, in the second half, they had only given up 56 points all year, and they showed why they are such a great defense, stopping Tony Hulke. That he didn't have as much time to throw in that second half.
Tony Hulke led the Raiders on a drive down the field, in scoring position. 4th and 1 on the 3-yard line. Hulke throws incomplete.
Constant pressure. Whenever you're a quarterback and you're looking for a player, it's so tough when you have pressure on you. His first play is trying to elude a defender, then trying to find a receiver. Great defense by Verndale.
And Verndale had to stop Nicollet with one of their better players, Kyle Ashman, sitting on the bench with an injured knee on that last Nicollet drive. So a number of Verndale players stepping up, stopping Nicollet, and clinching the win and clinching the state championship. Tom, what can we expect to see a game this good next game or anywhere else here today?
Well, I hope so. We had a great start today. Verndale and Nicollet both had outstanding years. Those coaches have to be very proud. The community was well supported here.
All right. Well, we are going to put this one behind us. As much fun as it was, as good as it is to talk about it, we're getting past Verndale and Nicollet and looking forward to MLBO and Rushford-Peterson next on